Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the UPL. My name is Travis D, and I am joined here with the ever so illustrious Hawk. How is it going, my dude?
Wow, that was a great introduction. Illustrious. What a word that is. Good way to start.
Looked it up before I started.
It's Friday night. We got some good old-fashioned UPL travesty.
We do. And you know what? It's going to be a fun one. They turned around, they said, you know what? We got a fun matchup. We got AOE randoms taking on Tempest Gaming. And me personally, coming off of what I've seen from them recently, this is a matchup that I really was craving to see.
Yeah, this is a really good matchup between two teams that have played in the Proving Grounds. They both made the main group stage of our most recent PGCQ, and even though they have not made it to the semifinals, which are happening on Monday, right, they definitely had a good tournament in their own rights, and now seeing them face off here in UPL in the semifinals is sure to be a hotly contested matchup.
Absolutely, because down here in UPL, this is where legends are forged, myths are created, and all sorts of stories are shared around. This is where a lot of people make their pathway in. And you know what? You got to put that work in. And there's some star-studded rosters. Real quick, I want to talk about the veteranship, though, that is inside these rosters. This jungle role is stacked, bro.
Yeah. We've been saying this as the narrative for Tempest Gaming for all the broadcasts I've been on for them, which, by the way, all my UPL broadcasts have Tempest for some reason, so I get to cover this team so much, but it means I've gotten to see a lot of them, right? And what we've liked to say is Frost Forest probably has more competitive experience than the rest of his team combined in terms of number of games played. He has been around the block. He's a former CLOL champion. He has been an amateur for a long time, a very, very prolific player, has even played in academy for short stints. Definitely someone to keep our eyes on. But Colthrow on the other side, no stranger to the scene as well.
Not at all, man. If you want to look for somebody who is willing to bear slap anyone at any given moment, it's Colthrow. You got to watch out for that guy. You meet him at LAN? Just saying.
The bear, and what I love about that, the bear's really good right now.
Yeah.
It's super good. So you gotta watch out for the deer in your jungle. Colthrow probably gonna be looking to bust that one out.
Yeah, unless it's banned, of course. That's a BF format. Yeah, we don't pay attention to that. But I also want to pay attention to the fact that we have, on one side, we have one team here who has a loyal and dependable team here, a loyal group of fans. And I have to address it every single time I see, Tempest come out onto the field. I'm like, yo, they got all sorts of fans that just come out of everywhere, man. It's insane to see how much support, especially like Geiger and Psycho have. It's insane.
It really is. It was super funny back before PGCQ won this summer. So like their first big tournament, right? We had the reveal show, and then I went on stream with Grapes and DJ, and we like talked about the teams. We only had like 20 viewers or something, we were just kind of having some fun. And Tempest Gaming, they joined the chat, and they were like, "Yo, like gas us up, like talk about our team." And I just think it's so awesome to see that they have these fans. They have people that get excited about the team and want to see them play. And I think for randoms as well, the AOE community really grown over the last year and a half or so since they've been around in the scene. So these are two teams that definitely do have a following, and success also breeds a following, because these are two teams that have had success. And so, yeah, I'm expecting it to be maybe, I don't know, maybe a little war in the Twitch chat or something. Who knows?
We'll see. We'll
make it look like LCS.
I actually think it's really interesting too, because AOE has all these teams that are inside the amateur scene, right? Like there's always the joke, like every single time you see AOE, eventually there will be a civil war because there's about 10 different teams inside the competition. I think it's funny when you look at AOE randoms, because they're one of the longest running AOE teams. A lot of them kind of have these little stints here and there, but AOE randoms is actually kind of a mainstay for the AOE esports. I think it's their second longest team besides, just regular AOE esports.
Yeah. Besides the main team, I mean, they had a completely different roster, but AOE Randoms was a brand that played in 2021 summer in the Proving Grounds circuit. I don't think they made the main stage. I think they were one of the last teams to get eliminated. However, definitely a lot of success for this team, as you say. And, you're talking about those AOE Civil Wars. Guess what these teams are playing for the privilege of? Facing off against Ginger Turmeric in the Winners Finals next week, which I think is pretty perfect. And I think the randoms are going to look to show maybe their big brother team that they can run with them.
It's year 2042, and we are still having AOE, fight AOE in amateur.
There's 300 AOE rosters. The entire Proving Grounds and UPL is, oh yeah.
AOE has made it into LCS. You know, it's the story as old as time. Yeah. But yeah, I personally, I want to see what these teams have that will be set up for us. You know, we've seen a lot of players have a bunch of different reads actually on the current meta. I actually remember somebody who is a player for inside of the AOE esports organization to kind of highlight. We got to see Zamudo actually put out a tweet that was recently where he was just like, yeah, games are going fine. And it was just a long history of like blue, and he was playing Draven top and Karthus top. So I'm a little scared. I'm a little scared.
But that's what's so fun about amateur, right? Is I feel like you can kind of get away with like playing your one trick or playing something weird if you just know how to play it better than anybody else, you know? Like, for example, Denethor, top laner for Tempest Gaming here. Mostly a Camille one trick, and it forces a ban from every team, every game, no matter what, because they know that if you give Denethor Camille, he's just going to destroy you. And having that sort of mastery on champions, like, it creates sort of our own little amateur meta that is always very fun to watch.
Yes, I love it. I love also seeing those kind of players like Denethor, like you were just talking about, being able to adjust, being able to switch things around. And like I said, the fact that there's so many people who are just supporting these players and stuff like that, you think that they're turning around and saying, you know what, I can't stay a one trick, right? I gotta develop. I gotta find different avenues. And a lot of these players out here, they're looking for that competitive success. And to get that, you know, you don't want one band to be the one ticket to you going down into like the lower bracket or anything like that. You want that success. So a lot of these players, they're picking up some of these other champions. They're really strutting their stuff. And sometimes, especially when there is a new patch involved, Hawk, it can lead to some beautiful innovation.
Yeah, it really can. I mean, we saw the durability patch just earlier this year. The meta got shaken up so much in terms of what champions are playing. We do have the 14 notes up on your screen. You guys can see Seraphine, it got hit. Hopefully not having to be permabanned red side every single game. Such an impressive champion for a really long time. In general, looks like the bot lane meta might have gotten shaken up a little by the most recent patch. Lots of things getting nerfed. Alistar also getting buffed back up. We'll have to see if that actually influences the draft in this game or not. You know, a lot of times teams are going to go to comfort more than anything. So what has previously been meta is going to be more comfortable. You're going to be more proficient on it, even if it's slightly weaker. But we're underway into draft. I'm expecting, again, probably a Camille ban to come through from AOE randoms, probably a Nudier ban to come through from Tempest. But after that, all bets are off.
Yeah, I'm very interesting. You're not a Seraphine stan, by the way, so we'll have to see going in. But yeah, I'm curious. I feel like enchanters themselves kind of got hit too, so I'm curious on what that means for this rosters of players here. If they're going to try and go more towards that engaged style. We did get to see some buffs on champions like Pantheon, which I know a lot of people were very excited for, just because, you know, that he hasn't been in action, and he usually screams, all right, early game, going to jump. But here we are, we're in bans. We're already seeing a couple being taken away.
Yeah, there's a Udyr, or unsurprising, I should say. And the Sejuani also getting removed. That is Denethor's second most played champion, and actually is most played here in UPL due to that Camille always being banned out. It's pretty much always been his number 2 champion. Very safe, blind pick tank. That can have influence in the later stages of the game. So randoms opting to remove that. It does seem to be a focus on Denethor in the draft as the Camille likely to follow suit here.
Very likely. As you already see, gone, you're a prophet. What can I say, Hawk? And seeing as what Tempest got here, they've already taken around the deer. You think they target anybody else in specific? Maybe Nem9 or anybody?
Yeah, honestly, I could see that. I just... In particular, I don't think you send all your bans Kolthro's way, just because I feel like the jungle pool is actually very wide open right now. I think junglers are able to get away with playing a lot of different things. There's a lot of high agency picks, so unsurprisingly, yeah, they're going to target out some of the other members of AOE randoms, which I think makes a lot of sense, especially on the red side. Just remove some comfort picks, remove some safe blind picks, and then leverage your R5 counter pick to get advantageous lane matchups. That's sort of how you want to draft, and when you have players like Denethor that are very inclined to play for the one-on-one, despite maybe a more limited champion pool, if you're able to use your bans intelligently and kind of set yourself up for a counter pick it can really give you an edge in the game, as Poppy is actually the removal, something that has been cropping up over the last patch or two in the jungle in pretty much all leagues around the world. It's been extremely strong. AOE randoms clearly not wanting to deal with it.
Yeah, and it has potential as a flex pick too, right? There's actually so many dashes in the game. I remember I actually got done talking to Mike Young recently, and I remember he was disappointed because he was just like, "Oh, that's a top lane Poppy," and he wanted to see that jungle Poppy because he's like, it's so good because there's so many dashes.
It's fun too. I'm just gonna say, there's nothing more fun than running into a lane with a circle around you that says you can't get away from me.
Dude,
it's great.
No, yeah, you're getting pinned up against the wall one way or another. AOE randoms. What's your first pick? What are you gonna be looking to pin up Tempest with?
Yeah, first picks. I mean, I'm actually really interested. There's a lot of directions that you can go. Oh, Neela is enabled now, I think. Maybe not. Okay, Seraphine is the first pick. That makes a lot of sense. You know, it was. Okay, I did just get word from production. Yeah, Neela is enabled, so we'll have to keep our eyes on that one as well. But Seraphine being the pickup here, I think it makes sense. You know, I did say it was nerfed. However, it wasn't actually nerfed that hard. They just turned down the AP ratio on the W, so the champion is still very strong. And it has flex potential in 3 positions. You can go mid, ADC, or support.
Yep.
Well, I'm interested to see if it is a Psycho Seraphine or if that'll go to somebody else. I know this patch's Seraphine was more preferred by in the ADC position, or should I say the AP carry position. But the Sylas being picked up immediately here. I saw your reaction to this. Maybe you have some thoughts.
Why is there so many blind Sylases? Why? Why is this a thing? Why? Why? You don't know what your lane matchup is. You see a Seraphine and you're like, ah, Sylas, let's go. All right, sweet. I'm gonna throw the This happened in PG. They were blinded Sylas. Tempest Gaming was all about this, and they still are showing that priority. They're still showing that comfort level for this Sylas. It's amazing to me because it's just, this is the kind of champion that you pick when you see a lot of juicy ults on the other side, like the Malphite, like the Gnar, like stuff like that you can easily grab and assess. But man, the bravery on this man.
Yeah, I mean, I'll agree with you. I'm with you. Blind Sylas is definitely a little spicy. It is great into Seraphine. The Encore is one of the best ultimates in the game that you can get, and then the Lucian Blind here for mobility. It's been his favorite champion throughout UPL. Unsurprising to see this one picked up here by mobility. He's really him and Bello have been absolutely dominating in the 2v2s. Would expect Tempest Gaming just to go to the Nami right here once the pick comes back around to them. Yeah, it's just, again, dominate the 2v2. It's something that they've played a lot. I don't think there's any reason not to go to it. But AOE random's clearly going to try to play for the contest with the Karma. It's also super strong in lane. So it will be the Seraphine and the Karma in the bot lane. Very difficult to remove. Even for the Lucian Nami, you need to play properly. The amount of poke that can come down will be immense. So you need to pick your trading windows intelligently so that you don't get too heavily chunked out.
Yeah, Nami could be a target too, right? By this duo.
Yeah.
Like Seraphine plus, like you do like the enchanted Q from Karma, where you do that mantra Q, throw that out there, that gives a slow, you tag them with the E from Seraphine, and all of a sudden you got a rooted Nami who's taking so much damage. Man, one mistake is all it takes for AOE randoms to get ahead in this bot lane, and that's a punishing, that's punished right there.
If you fall behind as the Lucian Nami, there's no reprieve. I mean, the enchanters are just going to destroy you once you fall behind. So you need to make sure you get ahead. I also want to mention the Yone pickup here for Nem9 into the Sylas. This is going to be an extremely explosive matchup. And if we're looking at another champion that could potentially make the bot lane even more volatile, it is going to be this mid matchup. This Yone, the Sylas can easily roam down to the bottom side, make plays happen. So we'll have to keep our eyes on that one. Just funny story too. I was playing Sylas the other day against a Yone, and I stole the Yone's ultimate, and then my ultimate for the rest of the game permanently became Yone ultimate. Super weird bug. We'll see if that happens here.
You were just him. That's it.
Yeah,
that's it.
It was really weird. Like, I just was playing Sylas with Yone ultimate. Like, I couldn't steal anyone's ultimate anymore.
Well, on the bright side of things, being Yone is always a good thing for Nem9. This is one of the signature champions for Nem9. So I'm curious what Tempest Gaming's response is going to be here. They still got their top side. They still got their jungle to pick up. And Frostforce definitely has a champion ocean when it comes down to that role.
Definitely, and the playmaking junglers have been what has been getting removed, because when I think of Colthrow, when I think of Frost Force, I do think of playmakers. For Tempest Gaming in particular, Frost Force has been the early game playmaker. He is where everything starts for this team, and mobility is where it ends. So if you can get him on something like this Lee Sin, which I'm honestly not a huge fan of. I don't love Lee Sin in the current meta. However, definitely a comfort pick and definitely a playmaker. If you get Frost Force on something with early agency, he can really get his AD carry into the later stages of the game to just absolutely pop off. And again, looking to create volatility on the bot side. The Pantheon just got buffed. Oh, it's gonna be fireworks, Travesty.
I'm so excited for this just because I've been playing a lot of Pantheon. So this is great. And then we also got a Shyvana locked and loaded here. So this is very, very much so going to be a fun matchup. This is a Pantheon in the jungle. This is going to be a very powerful early game pick. If you're not sure of what a Pantheon jungle can do, let me tell you, once you get hit with that shield, you'll get reminded very quickly. This damage is deadly, but a Gwen as the answer into the Shyvana. So we got some scrapping in the top side.
I need to fact check this, but I don't think Denethor has played Gwen yet. So I'm actually really interested to see a new champion being pulled out by him, which is great to see. You know, the Shyvana is such a safe line pick, can really just neutralize the lane, but Gwen is something that really can punish it. It's got a lot of carry potential, a lot of true damage. But this game is not about the top lane. This game is definitely about the bottom side of the map, because when I see that Pantheon locked in, it's another pick that can try to counter the plays that Tempest Gaming wants to go for on the bottom side. It feels like AOE randoms concocted a game plan to counter Tempest Gaming, because Tempest honestly looks like they just went full comfort. The Lucian Nami, they've played it basically every time it's available. Playmaker for Frost Force, like, this is their formula. It feels to me like AOE randoms, they've tried to come up with a counter, and we'll have to see if they're able to execute and make it work out, because again, Seraphine Karma, if they get one kill on this Lucian Nami, if they're able to survive the lane, this will quickly get out of Tempest Gaming's hands.
Yeah, the saying goes something like I fear not the man who has 1,000 different kicks, but the man who's practiced the same kick 1,000 times, right? That Tempest Gaming have a strategy, and like you were talking about, if you're AOE randoms in this matchup, you want to be able to counter. You know what you're coming into with this. You know they like to put attention to this Lucian Nami. Mobility, like you were talking about, most played champion here inside the UPL is this Lucian, and it's for good reason. When mobility gets ahead, he is a star-studded prospect inside the scene and really can showcase their abilities. But the efforts are against them. You were touching on it. You got double enchanter. Even if you start getting a lead, there's heals and shields in that bot lane. And the gank assist that comes from this can actually be pretty terrifying. So if you got a Pantheon that is even pre-6 looking to do something, and then once you hit 6, you gank mid, and then you just man drop into the bot lane, it's a very scary scenario to be inside of. And I'm with you. The counterplay from AOE randoms, at least in theory, seems very effective.
Exactly, and one of my concerns for Tempest Gaming's composition as well, which is sort of strength, but also sort of a concern, is if you're a Frost Forest, you actually kind of have a target-rich environment on the other side, in the sense that, you can also go after the Yone. That is a volatile mid lane. You can also play to try to get your Gwen ahead. I think this is a huge Gwen pick. Gwen is phenomenal into this AOE randoms composition. So I think you have these sort of options if you're Frost Forest, but I feel like the bottom lane is so important, because again, if your Lucian Nami's not able to get ahead, you're going to lose the game. And it just sort of, it makes the decision-making process very difficult for Frost Force. So we'll have to see if he maybe passed a little bit creatively to try to make early plays elsewhere on the map. That way, they can bring their numbers down to the bottom side and really start to blow it up. But we're on to the Rift here for game number 1 between AOE Randoms and Tempest Gaming.
Yeah, we are there on the blue side. Tempest is on the red. And I want to piggyback on some of the comments that you said real quick, because I also want to bring up, there's not really any engage for Tempest Gaming, which does make me a little scared on how they're going to start fights. But you know what? Look at that Silas. First strike, baby. Looking for that money.
First strike Silas is really interesting. I guess in the melee matchup, you can get away with it because you're going to proc it. That is really cool. And all I'm going to say in regards to the Silas is, look, you don't need engage when you can just steal the enemy team's engage. Taps forehead. Fuke can ult the Shyvana or ult the Pantheon or ult anyone, honestly, and just dive himself into the middle of the team. Yes, probably will want a Zonias to survive that ordeal, but Tempest at least has options in that sense, despite the lack of a true dedicated frontline.
Yep. do want to bring up too, has that teleport, so we'll be able to get a nice early recall off, and has those minion demats, so we'll be looking to shove out the wave, keeping our eyes on Nem9, has the Ignite advantage. And as we were talking about before, Nem9, this is the signature champion for this mid laner, and has performed on Yone time and time again. Nice little cheeky ward coming in from the mid laner of Tempest.
Yeah, Nem9 definitely gonna... Probably feeling pretty good about getting this matchup. I mean, again, blind pick Sylas that has his trade-offs. I actually feel like Sylas is pretty okay here in this composition, but the lane will be difficult. Nem9 will have control of this, and giving a Yone control of the lane can definitely always create dangerous situations, as you can already see the level of control that Karma and Seraphine can put down here over the waves. So much AoE, so much range from the two of them. Mobility and Bella, they get forced back.
We spent a lot of time talking around across the map. I do want to bring up, where everybody wants their conversation to go. Let's talk about Geiger on this Shyvana being forced away from this wave. And Denethor, you were talking about it. Not entirely sure if we've had a game of Gwen from Denethor, but this would be a great test, especially because you were talking about the champion pool issues that Denethor might have. Going against Geiger, who has really been a force of his own, has really been showing up as of late, and been showing everybody why Twitch chat is cheering him on so often.
Yeah, and Geiger, speaking of champion pools too, someone that really has a great champion pool. We've seen Geiger play quite a few champions. He's got some pocket picks like the Urgot as well. Clearly willing to adapt to the meta by pulling out things like the Shyvana. So definitely will be an exciting top lane matchup. And even though, yeah, it's a Shyvana lane, it's not the most important. As mentioned before, the big team fight carry here for Tempest Gaming will be Denethor on this Gwen. If he's able to get ahead, this Gwen could be a serious X factor, and it's a good way to also counter the excess range that we do see from the double enchanter comp of randoms. And I mean, if I'm being honest, I don't think the Pantheon and the Yone will really have the damage to one-shot the Gwen later on into the game, and if she can get that mist down and stay alive, can really do a lot of work, as we do see some scrapping in the jungle.
Yeah, it's not much of a scrap as much as it is an all-out slaughter. Frost Force needs a ward hop away to safety. Nem9 is on the path. Oh, that flash, it hurts. It feels bad. The smite comes through, but it will only delay the inevitable. It is first blood to Nem9.
Oh, and Nem9 picking up first blood is huge here for randoms. We've been talking about this mid laner and what he can do on this champion. Your carry is now on line here if you are the randoms, and Colthrow just leveraging the Pantheon early game into the Lee Sin, and this is sort of why I was skeptical of the Lee Sin pick. I wasn't even expecting it to get punished this hard necessarily, but it does have its shortcomings, and credit to Colthrow. I mean, on the second day, I think, or the third day of 12-14, pulls out the champion here in competitive and is making it work.
Well, here's the thing about these junglers, right? These are junglers who have been playing the game for a while. They know exactly how to pilot Pantheon, buddy. They know what the Pantheon jungle, they've been waiting for the day, and Colthrow is no stranger to playing these junglers that have this early aggression. So
Definitely.
This fits right into the wheelhouse. And look at this, Nem9 taking it to this Sylas. Goodbye, and of Tempest.
Nem9 picking up a second kill. This is getting out of hand quick. Randoms really getting everything they want. I think Vuke just forgetting that his laner took Ignite. We've all been there, it happens, but that is a pretty costly mistake. 2-0 up 15 CS here in the mid lane is Nem9. That is quite an advantage to get off to. And I looked it up, Travesty, and Denethor has not played any Gwen in UPL. However, this year in competitive, he has one game of Gwen in Summer PGCQ #1 in a win against RBG Esports.
And now you know.
Yeah. Pretty cool. So he has played it,
is power.
but not in UPL. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and I want to see if he'll be able to pull up that win here again, because right now his mid jungle is having a bit of a hard time. Nem9 is at that point where he can really take over the matchup, and one of the big problems Tempest Gaming has is the fact that there is a very much so an element of volatility inside their composition, right?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of volatility in their composition, and when you're against double enchanters, it's sort of hard to create that volatility that you need. Tempest Gaming, they need to be able to create volatility on the map such that their skirmish composition can really work, but so far, it's just been AOE randoms looking very coordinated in their early game attacks around the mid jungle, and it's meant that Mobility and Bello have been totally isolated here in the 2v2, and there's been no windows for Tempest Gaming to make proactive plays. I mean, Frost Forest is spotted in his jungle. Colthrow is actually at the Wolf camp right now, just throwing down harass, and it just becomes so difficult to play this game if you're the Lee Sin. Look at this, getting completely forced out.
Yeah, and it's a click and stun, safeguarded just in the mid of time. Bello is going to find a lot of damage. Frost Forest still tangling around. Not a fight you want to take, though, as they're looking to continue pressing onward. Frost Forest barely survives. Looking to see if they'll take the resonating strike forward. Not going to be able to do it just yet. Psycho gets killed. Onto the Nami. The encore. Do you want more? Bouquet finds a triple kill. And it's not done yet over in the top side. A solo kill for Geiger. They're still fighting. Psycho is backing in the bush singing a song. You're all invited. JK. Tempest Gaming will crash that party, and all of a sudden the game is tied 4-4.
Yeah, Denethor may drop on the top side, but Tempest Gaming, they get the volatility that they wanted, and it's in a play that was started by the randoms. Frost Forest kiting that commit out so well, and it baits AoE randoms into going way too deep. And Travesty, I know you were skeptical of the blind pick Silas, but that Seraphine ultimate was pretty damn big, and Bouquet picks up 3.
Yep. So far, most impressive Seraphine ult of this game is the first one. To see if that continues to be a trend. Yeah. And, you know, that's the danger of Silas. But look at this, Colter is just waiting around here. The music is playing in the background. Bouquet needs to be cautious still. Did get some life breathed into him, but this is still a Yone that is 20 CS up.
Yeah, Nem9 is definitely still a problem. Nem9 kind of missed everything in that last fight, which is why he looked a little bit useless, but he is definitely still a problem. Make no mistake. If he isn't able to land more skill shots next time, it will be better. Frost Force is here for this. Yeah,
Frost Force is here, but then of course taking way too much damage. A good Dragon Rage kick will equalize the field, and Geiger can't transform into a Majestic Dragon, so is going to disengage from the fight. We are seeing a little bit more of a dance around Shelly, as both these teams want to be able to contest this. Frost Force looking to see what he'll be able to do. Denethor does not have teleport, so has to just rejoin into this fray. Nice resonate strike. The Colin comes in, doesn't get the tag on the root. Bouquet is going to be able to dissuade Nem9. They're still going for more, and now the Shyvana has transformed into a Majestic Dragon, looking to go a little bit further. Okay, needs to disengage. The HP bar is not in favor of Tempest Gaming, and AoE randoms come out ahead.
Wow, I'm amazed that AoE randoms was able to get ahead, but yeah, it's just the poke that was being thrown down made it such that Tempest Gaming was too low to contest despite having pretty substantial level advantages across the board. I mean, Colthrow still level 5, and that's sort of where I question that last gank. I'm pretty sure Colthrow is 1 camp off of 6. I think he's going to finish this. Yep, and he's going to take over. So going for a gank up when you don't know where Lee Sin is, when you're down a level like that, and you're 1 camp off 6. I know Pantheon ult's not the biggest in the gank, right? But it is just a little bit greedy. So he ends up getting killed for it. But again, randoms, they leverage their poke to still get the Herald and make it a pretty even play overall. Tempest Gaming, they do get priority bottom side due to resetting first, which does mean that they could potentially set up for this Cloud Dragon. They've been a team that has heavily prioritized early dragons. Makes sense when you're playing a lot of Lucian Nami. Yeah. They should be able to get this one pretty easily. However, it does seem like the randoms might be mounting a contest.
They might be looking to encroach upon them. The Encore comes in, doesn't get the steal, but they take the life of Frost Force. A nice shutdown going over their way as they force the rest of Tempest Gaming back to the safety of their tower.
Yeah, pretty nicely done right there by the randoms, and I think that's more than worth it. Yeah, Tempest Gaming, they get first dragon, but it's first dragon Cloud, which I guess on the bright side means it won't be a Cloud Soul, but move speed early on, not that useful. Later on, great, but, you know, you'd maybe rather have something like an Ocean Drake to keep yourself topped off in the lane, and trading over 300 gold for it is definitely not ideal, especially when I think that kill went to Psycho. So, you know, getting gold onto the Seraphine definitely going to make her a menace. Now you can summon the Herald and contest on the bottom side. Bouquet getting it spicy.
Getting a little bit spicy, needs to make sure that doesn't affect him a little bit further, but good bit of defensive play coming from Frost Force, knowing exactly where the play is coming. But now we got a dragon into the top side. Denethor has to go ahead and watch out as Ghost has been popped by Geiger. Gonna just force him off that top tower. The action hasn't stopped down here in the bot side either. Frost Force getting a little bit feisty, gets tethered up, jumps away with the safeguard, and a little bit of a standoff between these two teams. Geiger getting a little feisty, but Denethor threads the needle and gets the kill.
Oh, Geiger. Yeah, I respect the attempt, but the Gwen's got Ignite, just goes down after taking the shot. Good try, ends up getting punished, and we were talking earlier, if Denethor gets going, this Gwen will be really, really powerful later on. Now up 20 CS, so despite getting killed earlier on, it seems like Denethor has done a pretty fantastic job of stabilizing in this lane, and is able to find himself a nice freebie.
Hawk, I'm gonna let you in on one of my mantras real quick, okay? It's a very sacred mantra. I chant it to myself whenever I see a low HP target underneath the tower.
Okay, I'm ready.
Yeah, it's greed equals feed. Okay, you just chant that to yourself a couple times. It helps out. It does wonders. Trust me. And that is what Geiger needed to say right there. He saw the low HP bar and Denethor, man. Gwen's a hard champion to have to deal with under the tower to begin with.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. Greed equals feed. You know, I'm gonna use that one. Thank you for that. But I think in Geiger's case, his mind was telling him no, but his body was telling him yes.
Just to make sure you include me every time you make that.
Of course. I'll be like, you know, credit to Travesty told me this mantra, you know, in the wise words.
Yes, thank you for adding the wise words. I appreciate that. Bonus points for that one. Okay.
You know,
okay.
My teacher here on UPL stream.
Ooh. I like this. Okay, hold on. I can keep going with this.
Master Travesty.
All right. Well, right now it looks like Bello is mastering the song and dance from Psycho.
Oh, no.
Lots of damage traded. Both supports low. Supports being blown left and right, but both left standing.
Yeah, in the wise words of Joe Buck, I don't think Mobility had the angle right there on the culling, but Bella's gonna die.
Yeah, he is right inside the execute range for that Q. So easy kill to be able to pick up. Okay, trying to see if he can make something out of this. He is able to yoink that mantra, but it's going to take some calm words. He gets the kill out of Psycho. And Coulter will make the retreat, looking to jab away at that spear, but these HP bars are not in the favor of AOE randoms.
Yeah, and it's going to give Tempest Gaming priority over this tower to get some turret plates for Mobility. Now, Nem9 is able to trade it back. He did not follow the roam on his mid laner as Vuke goes down to the bottom side. So it's overall pretty even trade at the board. But, Travis, you have a very important question. When Vuke stole the mantra, do you think the mantra he was chanting was greed equals speed?
You know, at that point in time, yes, because he didn't take a single tower shot, I don't think. So I think he was keeping himself calm.
He didn't die for the low health karma.
Yeah. Look, I've seen Silas's take those.
Yeah,
they're like the King's Players up, guys.
I've seen myself take those too. Oh, we've got a pause. I think Denethor standing still right there is probably why this pause is happening.
I would say quite possibly.
Probably.
Also could be him just trying to, you know, flex a little bit, you know, doesn't have to move. You know, sometimes you do that whenever you play League of Legends. You just say, all right, I just stand still in front of you, hold the S key, and just, you know, make a statement. Sometimes it's a psychological warfare.
I feel like that's such a top laner thing to do. Just like assert your dominance in the landing phase by standing still in front of your opponent.
Confirm.
And like, it's like, you can trade with me all you want. I'm still gonna beat you. Like, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, that's my way of doing things, right? It's a psychological battle, right? Sometimes you just, you got to torture them a little bit. Sometimes you play Malphite and you ult in place just to assert dominance.
And do the Skara play where you flash at them and then they just flash away without you ulting.
You flash at them and then Malphite ult back to where you were. That's the real dominance. We're back in. Yeah,
I need to see Geiger ult backwards just to assert his dominance back, but it looks like that's not going to happen.
We call that a 360 no scope. Let's see a 360 no scope Shyvana breath. Let's go.
That would be good. I feel like going for a 360 Shyvana no scope though when you're down a level in 30 farm is like, that's like when you say GG when you're the guy that got like carried by your team. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, you know, are you sure you're in a position to flex right now?
So to equalize that, I'm going to teach you another one of my mantras.
Okay, yeah.
Do it for the content.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Wise words. Wise words.
Those are the wisest words. Oh no! I'm a cutie pie's catching strays here on the stream.
Oh man. They're having a dragon contention. Looks like this is the stray they're looking to bring home, and it's going to be, okay, grabbing a nice
Great
ultimate.
Nami.
And 9 in the backline, though. Mobility shut down. A 1-for-1. Both mid laners coming out on top, but it is ultimately Tempest Gaming who are pushing back. AOE Random has the Kingslayer, has the heals. It's a double kill going over to Frost Spores, but it's tagged by the Seraphine. Ultimately, Dragon still secured as it is going over thanks to Denethor's efforts.
And what a beautifully played team fight by Tempest Gaming. It starts with Vuke stealing the Encore. I really think it's true, Travesty. The best Seraphine ults in this game have been by the mid laner of Tempest Gaming. These have been absolutely crazy. And then the follow-up tidal wave from Bello. Just beautiful. And after all of that goes down, the chase down was too strong. As Vuke, not going to greed equal speed, although maybe.
Got close to it. Didn't get hit by the spear shot. So Coldthrow lets him live yet again.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Vuke just going for a limit test. You know, doing it for the content, as they say, but does not end up
it's
dying.
a good bit. It's a good mantra.
Really is. I mean, look. We're content creators, Travesty. We're broadcasters. We understand more than anyone that you got to do it for the content.
Yeah, you got to do it for the bit.
That's what it's all about. Yeah.
Sometimes it's about the highlight reel, you know. And right now,
for sure.
Okay, having a fantastic time getting clips for that highlight reel. 4-1-3 on this blind Silas, and what a statement being made here. I wasn't a believer, but you know, he's starting to you know, warm up on me.
Yeah, Vuke, this is definitely the best blind pick Silas I've ever seen. And you know, I was a little concerned when he got like solo killed by Nem9, right, due to the ignite early on. The early game was rough for Tempest Gaming, I think it's fair to say, but one excellent fight just turned things around so substantially for this team. I do think they need to turn around and go back to base because AOE randoms could potentially outpush them with the Herald, but no, they're actually going to back away as the rest of Tempest Gaming shows up to defend. So it's not going to be a Herald push, and everyone's just going to go back to farming minion waves.
And the goal, pretty much even between these two teams, right? It's only about a K difference, but that's not much when we're getting close to that 20-minute mark. I do want to see what the ideal play is going to be. They have that second Herald, and I've heard a lot of people having a lot of priority on the second Herald. It looks like they're looking to utilize it. Mobility is looking like a victim of the circumstance. He is going to find himself dropping. Nem9 finds himself a beautiful catch out.
Mobility to play we see from him a lot. He tries to chunk somebody out to get positioning on the wave, but unfortunately his team's just not there to back him up, and he gets taken down. Really nice cut off right there from Geiger and Nem9. Going in, able to secure the well played by randoms to get a pick. And you know, we were talking about how close this game is. It feels like Tempest Gaming has been out team fighting their opposition, but they're just dropping kills and gold kind of randomly across the map at times, and it means that their lead is not that big. And while I think they're strong right now, this game will only get harder as it progresses due to the Seraphine and Karma. They've got their mythics online, and this team is going to be very hard to kill as the game progresses. So you can't really afford too many more mistakes like that. Tempest Gaming needs to keep their foot on the gas pedal.
Yeah, the volatility of this composition is what we were talking about earlier on, and Tempest Gaming has that in spades, and if they don't find themselves with a nice little lead here, it could be trouble. I want you to pay attention to the fact of how much danger this Karma Seraphine screams out to Tempest Gaming, or Frost Force, as a Lee Sin has the second item, Serpent's Fang.
Wow. Yeah, that's a really interesting adaptation, actually, to try to shred through the shields.
Okay, it's hard
for my Friday. But I mean, I kind of like this a lot, you know, as Lee Sin. Once you get Gore Drinker, this is so often the case on junglers. You get your mythic item, whether it's like Gore Drinker, Sunder, or whatever, and it's like, okay, none of your items matter anymore. Like you're done. And so getting something like a Serpent's Fang, which, while not necessarily a utility item, just making your job trying to punch through the shields, meaning that your damage dealers can just do more with their own items. So I kind of like this. We'll have to see if it works out.
Yeah, especially because you're the 5-3-2 Lee Sin, right?
Yeah, you're pretty strong.
you're a pretty strong champion right now. So it's very interesting to see a Lee Sin, first and foremost, think about their team. But this is Frost Force we're talking about. It makes sense. Frost Force, a fantastic enabler, but right now he needs somebody to save him. He needs a hero right now. He can kick one away, but he can't get away from the dragon. Thankfully, a ward in his pocket will be his safeguard as he makes an escape back into the base and a recall later.
Yeah, despite all of the kills that Frost's Force has been able to get, you know, he still can't really contest his own jungle, and that's why this game is so difficult for Tempest, and why I think AOE Randoms is feeling very content about their position in this game. They've had mid shoved out pretty much the whole time, and I think it's so interesting looking at the trajectory of this game, because remember, first and second clear, this game was all Colthrow, and Nem9, and it's not only until we saw that bottom lane dive that failed from Randoms that Tempest Gaming was really able to get some control, as Psycho does have to flash. That is Tidal Wave down, pretty major cooldown. I could see Tempest Gaming just trading for the mid tower right here, and I think that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, I was about to say, you know, Silas did yoink that Encore, so does have it available for this next fight, and if history has shown us anything, he knows how to play a Seraphine, at least, with these ultimates the way they have been, but unfortunately, this is the time he whiffs. He isn't able to hit that song and dance that he's known so well before. Psycho goes down, gets caught out by the culling. Dragon Rage kicks into the wall. Nem9 gets dropped. What a hero play, as it is AOE Randoms on the retreat. They have to disengage from the rest of this fight.
Tempest Gaming is team fighting so well here, Travesty. Are they going to go to the Baron? Both the carries are down. Psycho does have TP when he respawns in 15 seconds, so it is a bit of a hot contest, and it is just going to be a recall from Tempest. But, I mean, again, these team fights are so beautiful. Oh, hold up the bush bait. Mobility.
Oh, the bush bait. It was a death rush, and they weren't even planning for it to be so bad for him. Denethor finds a kill. Colthrow is tethered up. He'll get chained up and thrown away back to the fountain with you, as it is yet another kill for this Silas.
Yeah, and now I think it's Baron. You just killed the jungler and you killed Geiger. He's going to be down for too long. TPB down. And with the Gwen and the Lucian, this will get melted. Tempest Gaming playing so well on the map when it comes to execution. They may not have had that much control, but they are pulling through when it matters most. And I just want to talk about in that previous fight, Trav, the one around Dragon. That is such an illustration of why mid priority is so important. We saw Tempest go mid, just decide to kill the tower, screw the dragon, and the reason why is then on the exit, AOE Randoms had nowhere to go. They had to go through the jungle choke points, and when you're playing against a Sylas with Seraphine Ultimate, when you're playing against a Gwen, when you're playing against a Lucian, it's not possible to fight in those choke points. It allowed Tempest Gaming to dictate the space and execute the fight beautifully. So very, very well done. Props to this team for an understanding of mid priority and fighting around it.
I feel like AOE Randoms at this current moment in time, you know, usually I don't advocate for, you know, listening to music beforehand while you're inside of a game, but right now they need to hear the tunes of RESPECT, because that is what they need to start showing Tempest Gaming. They need to be able to respect the fact of how strong their fights are in these choke points, like you were just illustrating, and Tempest Gaming has been giving them examples time and time again. Now you're finding yourself in this moment where there is a huge shift to gold, and Tempest Gaming might find himself in a favorable position with this composition that really wants this gold lead.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of that gold lead, it has all of a sudden exploded to 5,000. It was tied, it feels like, just a few short minutes ago. And I mean, that's what getting a Baron and a lot of kills can do for you, right? Like, that's a way that you can break open a game that is stalled out. And as you said, you know, Randoms, it feels like a lot of their mistakes have just been not respecting spaces, getting too close to Tempest Gaming, and allowing the skirmish comp to do what it does best. And Tempest Gaming, to their credit, have beautifully. Now, again, Randoms, they've still got a lot of ways to stall out the game. They've still got the Seraphine Karma. There's a lot of options here for them. However, in a situation like this, you do sort of start to see the downsides of this composition, which is that you have very low damage, which means that Tempest Gaming doesn't necessarily have to respect you under these towers, and they can do things like this, where they just TP under and finish it off.
Yeah, with Baron buff, it makes it very easy, and like you were just talking about too, right? This is an item-dependent team. You do see Tempest Gaming and the Lucian didn't get the pop-off inside the landing phase, so you do see a lot of that itemization is towards magic resistance. But look at this. Psycho is just a couple inches up, and he gets punished. So does his support. Everybody else is coming, but you file one by one, and one by one you shall fall. AOE Randoms lose 3 members mid lane.
And when the Randoms aren't grouped up, they get picked apart. They don't have the value from the enchanters. Tempest Gaming, they find 3. They have the Baron on. They might look to end the game. It's only 24 minutes in.
They might just do stuff. Nem9 is still up and is still a very powerful force they do have to respect. And this is a very tanky Shyvana. So it does look like Tempest Gaming going to make the correct call. Be safe, be careful, and be precautious, because they can still throw at this moment in time if they start letting the game spiral out of control. Objective bounties are up. There are bounties across the scoreboard, so there's a lot of gold that could possibly be picked up from one flip fight.
There really is, and that's why you have to be so careful. But Tempest Gaming, I mean, you can see why they're a team that was one game away from making top 8 at the most recent PGCQ, and it is this level of coordination in the team fights that we're seeing. Yes, they have made mistakes in terms of map rotations and wave assignments. However, when it comes to the dick fights, they have been near perfect. They have won every single major engagement, and that is just amazing to see. It's plays like that. They understand how to play against this randoms composition. Find out the isolated members, pick them apart, and do not allow them to get value. Now, Dragon Bee started up Soul Point for Tempest if they can get it. Frost Force is behind the pit, and I don't think that randoms knows.
Yeah, but look at Silas. Silas is just in the midst of it all. It has been Dragon secured. Frost Force gets out with ease, but Silas is just freely pushing. It is just absolutely disasterific for them. They're just going to force themselves to not be able to recall. Only the Shyvana makes it, but Silas is teleporting back. He can't get interrupted. Frost Force goes down, but a nice use of Psycho's ultimate. An encore gets traded back and forth. The shields are there, but it's Nem9 against the rest of Tempest Gaming, and it's just not enough, as it's just one sole Geiger in the base to protect the game.
Well, I think we can say that the blind pick Silas was a success, Travesty, because Vuke with the most galaxy brain backdoor play ever, just pushing in the mid lane with the super minions, and as soon as Geiger TPs to stop him, he just TPs into the middle of the fight and cuts off the escape. Randoms get wiped off the map. They're going to survive for another fight, but I think this game is getting out of control, Travesty. 10,000 gold is the lead.
Yeah, I would like to argue that the game hasn't felt like it's been in the control of AOE
yeah,
for quite a bit of time. It's felt like all the pieces that they have had have kind of fallen apart, and there's not that sense of unity. And I want to contrast that to what you were talking about earlier, Tempest Gaming showcasing what it means to be on the same page with your team, for everybody to be ready to jump on any play at any given moment. And it's been AOE that's been on the back foot. AOE randoms have constantly had to be reactive, and look, they don't have the reactions for it at this current moment in time. Tempest Gaming are in full control of the destination and how they get there.
I mean, let's just look at the items real quick. Vuke has 4. Nem9 has 2.5.
Yikes.
Mobility, 3.5. To Psycho's 2. The carries of Tempest are so bad. Denethor also having 3 items. Like, they are just so strong, and to your point, they have been so coordinated in these fights as their execution has gotten them to this point, you know. Gold advantages, they only get you so far. You've still got to play the game.
Oh, that's a beautiful catch. Great catch on the Nami on the back foot, trying to get some wards down. It's a 4v5 if they go for it, but it is double inhibitor down. They have minions going into their base. They did not manage minion waves for this.
And remember, Geiger doesn't have TP because he uses TP to get back to the base at the previous engagement. Psycho has his, but he's coming to group with the team ahead of time. They see it happening with the blue trinket, but Geiger can't join. This is a 4v4. He has to answer these super minions that are coming towards the base.
Yeah, Frost Force is looking for an interesting play. Instead of being inside the Baron Pit, he's looking for a sick bait, rated 8 out of 8. Nem9 getting kicked in the face. Mobility on a rampage. And they're looking to continue this on forward. Gwen is immune. Silly AOE randoms. You got a Silas onto the back line. He's looking to see who he can yoink. Gets the mantra, and it's going to be smooth sailing for them. Cold throw kick into the midst of the opposing team, but it's a dragon flying majestically over the wall. 1v3, but it's not numbers in your favor, Geiger, as the rest of the team jumps on him. He's going to be able to shoot that dragon breath off. Psycho getting chased down by Gwen, and it is going to be the end of the game. Tempest Gaming gets to come out on top in game number 1.
In really dominant fashion, Tempest Gaming with, I think, the cleanest game I have seen them play in the now 6 of them that I've seen on UPL. Very, very good stuff from this team. Clearly understanding their win conditions and playing towards it. They fell behind early, but they bounced back. One mistake from AOE randoms was all it took for Tempest Gaming to take control of the game and really just look good. I mean, the positioning around that Baron, they never wanted to finish the Baron. They just wanted to fight, and AOE randoms got totally baited in, outsmarted, and killed. And Tempest Gaming, they win in a very dominant game 1.
It was beautiful, really, and it was also just to highlight the fact that they just saw exactly what mistakes were going to come about every single time and punishing it. This team has been getting better every time I see Tempest Gaming play. That's terrifying.
Yeah, it is. It really is. They have really come into their own here. Again, 1 game from top 8 at the most recent PGCQ, and that it would have been no small feat had they made it. And it already was such a feat for a team that, you know, has ramped up over the course of the split with only 1 player being changed, and that is Frostforest being brought in to bring that experience. So credit to Tempest Gaming for how they've looked in their coordination. You know, are there mistakes that can be fixed for next game? Sure, but they got it done with really good team play.
Hey, look, I'm just saying, we still got another game though, man. We're still ready. We got another one in AOE randoms. They looked good in the early game. They're gonna have to go back to the drawing board, see what they can figure out to be able to weather the storm that is Tempest Gaming. We're gonna take ourselves a short break, and when we come back, we'll see if they're able to draft up those answers. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are ready to get into game number 2. If you're just now coming in to see us, welcome. We're here. We got AOE randoms. We got Tempest Gaming. You got Travesty on the screen as well as Hawk, and it's looking like a fun time.
Oh, it is a fun time. You know, we just had a pretty fun game number 1. Yeah, Tempest Gaming, they took a pretty dominant win, but I don't think we had a shortage on excitement in that one.
No, not at all. The excitement was from the moment that we hit the rift, right? As soon as we hit the rift, we got rolling, we got into the river, and everybody was going for it. You can't have a chill early game when there is a Pantheon, and we got to see that time and time again. Unfortunately, didn't get to have the desired effect that AOE randoms want.
Yeah, and that's part of the problem, right? You can't have a chill early game when there's a Pantheon on the Rift, but when you're playing double enchanters like AOE randoms was, sometimes you need to be a little bit chill. Their fatal flaw in the last game is they started to play just a little too fast. They got a little too confident, and they gave away a triple kill to a Sylas, and from that point on, the game was just hard. So we'll see if they want to go back to that double enchanter. Last game, it was the first pick Seraphine. Didn't really work. Again, it felt like they were just a little too overzealous for the pace of the game that the double enchanters need. But up until that point, they had a hell of a lot of control. So maybe if you just say, hey, if we run that game back and don't int away 4 kills, then maybe we win.
Yeah, I mean, I remember I looked over at the blind Sylas, and I was like, oh, and I was just like, oh, it's going over the Vuke. And my thought process was like, Vuke, more like Yucke. As it was just one of those things where I was just like, blind Sylas, and he makes it work. It's actually disgusting.
It was great.
He's been grinding away on the champion. I feel like you have to ban it.
Yeah, I mean, or at least come up with an answer for it, because I mean, it was disgusting. The Seraphine ults, the best Seraphine ults in the game were by far Vuke's. They were absolutely amazing. And another thing that I want to point out too is last game we had Denethor's first game of Gwen here in the UPL, his second competitively ever, and it was pretty good. Yeah, he got solo killed once, but he ended up getting a solo kill in return and generating a lead and being a huge force in this game. So, you know, AOE randoms, if they're going to want to continue targeting Denethor's champion pool with, you know, again, we're seeing the Sejuani and Camille bans, you need to have an answer. You need to be clearly the blind Shyvana wasn't really it for Geiger. It was decent, but it wasn't great. And what you really need is great. And credit to Denethor for getting targeted and performing really well on something that he hasn't normally played. And I think that might throw a little bit of a wrench in the works with AOE random's plan.
Yeah, might be the wrench thrown. I always say top diff isn't about asserting dominance in lane. It's about making the other nets explode and then typing top diff in chat. That's the difference maker right there. Big brain. Win the war, if not the battle. And that was what we got to see.
Warfare, you know?
Yeah. Look, he stood still in front of... Look, it was the stand still move. I'm telling you, ever since...
You're right. That was kind of when it all... That's kind of when it all changed, too. That's why Geiger dove the tower, because he's like, I need to get revenge for you standing in front of me. I think he dove the tower before then, but it doesn't matter. I'm gonna go with that narrative.
No, it doesn't matter. In his head is rent free right now. I have to see if that remains the fact. You know, Geiger has been a very composed top laner that has shown a lot of growth as of late as well. And we were talking off screen what we want to see from the comp. We don't see a Sylas ban, so blind Sylas might happen again. I'm curious on what AOE randoms does pick for their first pick, because Seraphine is up and available again.
Yeah, again, you might just say that game goes differently if Sylas doesn't get a triple kill at 5 minutes, which I think that is valid. However, I do think there were still problems with the randoms composition, because another thing we were sort of talking about in between games, Travesty, was, you know, it felt like, you know, randoms just did damage last game, and I think part of the problem is that Denethor is, Geiger is definitely a tank player, as that is a first pick Sylas. So I'm just going to throw that point completely out the window. We are seeing a drastic shift here. I think they broke Travesty. He's still trying to process the blind pick Sylas after having issues with it last game.
Why is there a first pick Sylas in this game?
I don't know. I mean, first pick Sylas is a little crazy. There's no way they pick the Seraphine Karma. There's, like, you're counterpicking yourself, Tempest, if you do this. I feel like you just... But then you run the issue, too, of... Do you give up Seraphine? Because if you give up Seraphine, then Seraphine's still very strong. It actually puts Tempest Gaming in sort of an awkward position here. and raises a big question of what you draft. Karmazeri, very, very strong 2v2, good scaling from this. I'm actually expecting AOE randoms to go back to the Seraphine. Maybe the Karma is a denial of the pairing that randoms would have wanted with it. However, Zeri, very weak in lane, could be abused by something like a Sivir.
Yep, I love it. I was sitting here thinking about it, and yo, it's a Sivir Yuumi lane, and let me tell you about this, Hawk. I love me some Sivir right now. Ever since they changed her around with her W change, she's actually a terror inside of team fights as well. Because you hit one person, and those boomerangs bounce around the entire team fight. This is actually a very hard-hitting scaling champion currently. So I'm a big fan of this decision here. But on the flip side of Victor, that's the king of scaling inside the mid lane as of late. Everybody who wants to power up in that mid game, they lock in that Victor.
Yeah, and it's a huge shift here for Tempest Gaming. They're indexing much more towards team fighting. Maybe they saw last game and said, hey, we just outplayed randoms in every single team fight. Let's actually pick a composition that can just smash them into the dirt in that phase of the game, which I think that's pretty valid, and it's a very safe blind pick. I really like this Yuumi pickup as well here for Pakis. Against the Zeri, you know, you're sort of getting a free lane with the Sivir. She's going to just push in the waves endlessly. There's nothing Zeri can do about it. And with the free lane, you can get a little bit greedy with your support pick. Now, the Yuumi was just nerfed, however, not super substantially, so I still think it's a good pick here. Lots of synergy with the Sivir in terms of the move speed and keeping her safe.
Yes, lots of great synergy here, as you can see. And you already see the pop-up. It's just like, look at it! It was nerfed! Sivir's nerfed! Yumi's nerfed! They're all nerfed! But, hey, look.
3 out of our 4 bot laners here just got nerfed.
Yeah, it's fine. But,
still pretty good.
Yeah. I still like Sivir a lot, actually.
Oh, yeah.
That's been actually my go-to bot laner to play recently. Very fun to just wait until you get 6 items and destroy a team fight. But on the other side, Frostforce says, I don't need items to destroy a team fight. He's going for that Dragon Rage kick, again, for himself.
Yeah, and super interesting because I'm surprised that Frostforce seemingly willing to take the Pantheon matchup again. Early on last game, Frostforce was having a lot of issues. It wasn't until later on, once his team got ahead, that he was able to actually make proactive plays. The Pantheon was really shutting down a lot of what he wanted to do. So a little bit surprising. We'll see if the Pantheon comes back out here for Colthrow. I think it does make a decent amount of sense. However, if you're going for the Ornn, maybe not. Maybe you're looking for something a little bit more team fight oriented that can sort of create space. You've got a lot of damage from the Sivir. You've got a lot of scaling options as well with the Sivir, Yuumi, and Ornn. No, it's just going to be back to the Pantheon, so something that can create plays for your team seems to be the option.
Yes, I agree with this 100%. You want the Silas to get going, and Pantheon's a great champion at ganking mid lane to begin with. The gap closer is actually pretty sufficient to be able to do that. He's actually pretty good at ganking mid lane just in general pre-6, so I like this a lot. Possibly get him ahead. The Gnar coming in for Denethor, and I still find this very interesting because I know it's good into Ornn in the 1v1, but it's always interesting seeing Gnar whenever there is a Silas on the other side.
Yeah, Snarl's definitely one of those scary ones because Silas can get into the middle of your team really easily. And I will be honest, as far as counterpicks to Ornn go, Gnar's not the best. Mini Gnar is actually very vulnerable to a spellbook Ornn that takes with the spellbook. And also, you know, it's more of just like, I'm going to win the lane and be a pressure point, but it's not something like a Fiora that will really put into the dirt. Now, Gnar is Denethor's second most played here in UPL after the Sejuani, so it's definitely something that he's very comfortable on, and it is still a very strong champion in the current meta, so I think it makes a lot of sense given the composition that Tempest Gaming has, wanting to, again, index fully into the team fights and seemingly play around the bottom side of the map, leave Gnar on the island to be a self-sufficient side lane threat.
I feel like I like the train of thought that we're at, right? Like, Tempest Gaming turn around and they say, you know what we need? We need something that deals with Ornn, that's okay in the Ornn, and can give us a great team fight. Love it. Grab Gnar. Love that for you, Tempest Gaming. I always have a little bit of an issue and a question mark that I bring up. Not so much as an issue, but a question mark. How do you use your rage bar as Denethor, right? How do you manage your rage? Because that's the most important mark of a good Gnar player. If you don't manage it, if you mismanage it one time, you can miss your one opportunity to make your move on the map and really have a successful fight. And if Gnar gets going, that's great. If you don't get going, guess what? You got somebody who can steal your champion's ability and use it better than you. Doesn't need that setup of Rage to be able to utilize that Gnar ultimate. You don't need Rage for the Call of the Forge God to be able to come through on dial. It is a very terrifying situation if Denethor is not able to pilot this champion into these team fights, because Zeri Victor, man, they need a little bit of setup so they can get their abilities right.
Yeah, they definitely do. We'll see if they're able to do it. I mean, again, Tempest Gaming out team fought in game number 1 to find themselves the win. And it seems like they have just decided to do that one more time. It's up to the randoms to disrupt their game plan and push us to a game number 3.
Looking to see if they'll be able to do it. My eyes on Nem9 taking the Silas right off the get-go is going the Conqueror instead of the first strike that we saw from Fouquet in the last game. Well, you still keeping that first strike. Want that money? Money, yeah.
Yeah, wants that money. First strike Victor, I feel like a little bit more standard than the first strike Silas. I mean, clearly it worked. I'm not gonna flame it. But Nem9 not going for the first into the melee versus range matchup. Just gonna take the Conqueror. Something that I think you would expect. But the first strike Silas was a pretty cool adaptation last game in the melee matchup. It does seem like Colthrow starting on the bottom side of the map here, which is really interesting. Perhaps wanting to just secure this red buff before anything happens. But that does mean you're pathing towards your Ornn lane, which is not exactly ideal. Or maybe you get a little bit spicy and you 3-camp your bottom side into a bot gank, but that red ward will spot it out potentially.
You know what I love?
Ooh, what? What do you love?
The Sivir taking Ghost in this lane. Actually, disgusting to be able to take, especially when you're going to have a Yuumi inside, like on top of you, just hitching a ride. Psycho's going to be playing like a psycho if he is left unchecked, and plus the spell shield. I am actually very curious on how you actually deal with Psycho, because one of the big changes, because it's been a while since there has been some Sivir sighted, right? One of the big changes, besides her W being able to bounce a lot more and be more of an effective ability, is her E, her spell shield got changed around to where it doesn't give mana, it gives health now. And is such a huge change in terms of the survivability of this champion. I am keeping my eyes posted on what item Psycho is going. For the first item, because depending on what item you go, usually tells a lot about what kind of Sivir you're looking to play.
Yeah, and with the change on the spell shield, you know, it's a little bit worse for lane because you can't spam spells on the wave quite as much with that mana repository. However, later on into the game, it just does become so useful. And so with the Ghost, yeah, Psycho is going to be very difficult to catch, and we've been talking a lot about, you know, and the Victor, they need setup. And Zeri also, in particular, a champion that synergizes extremely well with movement speed, and that's such a huge part of her kit. Well, if the Sivir can outrun her, that really makes things difficult. And if you're looking for setup for your big carries here, if you're Tempest Gaming, a Sivir with 1,000 movement speed might make that a little tough.
9, not taking the better end of some trades, feeling the pain that is a Silas into a ranged matchup, as we have seen time and time again. Is a very much so suffering matchup, and I think you and me are both waiting to see AOE randoms. They're not going to do anything on the map unless Colthrow is there, it seems.
Yeah, and Colthrow, again, up on the top side around the Ornn. I mean, maybe you go for a dive here and set Denethor behind, but it's not a whole lot of reward here for a lot of risk.
Well, there is the reward of clapping the Gnar, and that's what they get. Yeah. They get the first blood, and that's exactly a message sent, and Denethor's going to have to teleport back up to the top side to be able to catch his way.
Yeah, I mean, nice dive right there from AOE randoms. Very well executed. They're able to take down Denethor with the point-and-click CC and get first blood onto your Pantheon, which does mean that you can leverage that to make plays on the other side of the map with that gold. It's not going to be stuck up here in the top lane with Geiger. Geiger might actually get taken down.
Yeah, Geiger taking a bit of damage there. Not going to flash forward with it. Colthrow is caught out of position. Had to trade his life for the Scuttle. Was it worth it? Results may vary, as now we are seeing Bello come back down here to the bot side lane and a good amount of damage on the Psycho. Gets his health resuscitated by the spell shield, and mobility is feeling the suffering.
Yeah, and nice job by Frost Forest to trade back there on the top side. And as I was sort of going to say, like, AOE randoms, they may get that first blood, but it's sort of what I was saying earlier of, yeah, you get a kill on your Pantheon, and that's great. You can use that later. But you give up so much agency on the map because even though the bot lane for Tempest Gaming is losing right now, the control on the bottom side of the map with that Raptor ward and the bot side Scuttlecrab being taken is in favor of Tempest, and then Frost Force is able to rotate up, get the double crab, and a kill back onto Colthrow, making the play actually pretty favorable, in my opinion, for Tempest overall. Because now Frost Force can just get back out on the map and either look for a gank bottom after doing this Gromp, or just contest Colthrow here in the river. Lots of options available to the jungler of Tempest.
Lots of options indeed. Victor using teleport to get back into the mid lane. Both mid laners will be doing the same thing. Frost Force getting caught out of position, but it's all gravy as he is not going to find himself getting punished for taking his sweet Gromp. As game currently completely even. Kill to a kill. No dragon taken. Everything is calm on the map. Except for mid lane.
And so This is the randoms, right? They get the control back on the bottom side. They commit forward, they use that pushing lane, and they get the control that they lost due to the dive top. But it does mean that, look at this, Colthrow actually forced to skip camps just to get up to the top side fast enough to match Frost Force. So it's just these little plays. Everything goes into itself as these junglers are making choices, and with every gank has an opportunity cost. In this case, it's needing to skip camps to stay even with Frost Force in terms of timing. But Frost Forest, he's going to get spicy and use his support roam to go in and steal away a camp. So everything just being traded back and forth. As you say, it's very calm, but things are definitely still happening on the map.
Yes, it's always funny whenever the support becomes a second jungler, because you're just sitting there crying, looking back down. You see the Yuumi attached to the server, like, please, come back up. I need you. My Gromp. It's a sad story. It's not one that you get to hear told very often, Hawk.
Yeah, it truly is. You know, life of an ADC, being all alone, watching your support go off with another person.
This is vengeance.
Pays off in being the jungler.
Yeah, Bella taking a hurt right there, but Frost Force is the cavalry, puts a foot to the face of the Spartan, and Colthrow drops.
See, the reason why that didn't work is Colthrow didn't have a side piece right there. The Yuumi wasn't in there in time, and Colthrow gets taken down for the second time this game.
Unfortunately, Pockus was on the way too, right? Like, Pockus was on the way. It's just not the same, man. You can't rush boots on Yuumi.
No, yeah, you're pretty slow coming off those resets as the Yuumi.
Yep, and you know, that's kind of where the problem lies. A lot of times you gotta come down there and be the Uber service for your team, right? You gotta, if you want the Yuumi to come with you, you gotta come down there and give a gank to the bot lane. And if you don't do that, then Yuumi ain't got no time for you, okay? Because we do have ourselves a pause. I don't know if anybody is standing still to assert their dominance yet again. Might be a pause to call them out on it. But we'll be getting into the game here very shortly. Yes. Oh, it's back. It's done.
We're back.
Dominance asserted.
Someone had to go pick up their DoorDash real quick. That's it. That's all that happened. We got the little pause bug. We'll be back in a sec here. We love the spectator client.
Yeah. I was gonna say that would make for a sweet sponsorship thing. Can we get like a food delivery service that I can get like money off of something?
Oh, I was at the LCS a couple weeks ago for the first time, which was a lot of fun. But
playing
the last,
playing.
No, yeah, totally. I was there on stage. No, you know, there was a fan just hanging out. But you know, the last game of the day, Mark Z and Pastry Time were casting, which was a very fun cast. And of course, Grubhub is one of the sponsors of the LCS. And Mark Z made a joke about DoorDash, and then he was like, "Oh, I meant Grubhub, sorry." And I was like, you know, I felt that one.
Yeah. Every caster felt that one, honestly.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. I don't even remember the joke now. I really wish I did, but you know, and there was only like 5 people in the crowd too, because the game was a dig. Who like, why is anyone gonna stay for that?
Oh, okay. Now you're flaming.
You're right. You're right.
They're not.
Right. I'm sorry.
We were talking about cutie pie catching strays. What is this, Hawk? Huh?
If there's any Immortals or Dignitas fans in the chat, I apologize, but
there is a Dignitas or Immortals fan. I'll show you Hawk's Twitter at. You can get him there. But right now, Call of the Forge God, Call of the Oran Horn being blown, not going to be utilized, but it is a 5-man rotation. AOE randoms, so looking to spend some time with Shelly topside.
Yeah, Shelly getting pulled around a little bit here. The positioning is pretty good for Tempest as they commit on the Nem.
Oh man, the kick. Wait a second, they're looking. It's his favorite chapter, but Nem9 can't find the angle. Doesn't hit the Gnar ultimate, but still finds shut down. Nem9 does eventually drop over. Denethor throws the cat up against the wall for some aggression out of the system. A double kill going through, and Tempest Gaming stand strong after sacrificing Frostforce.
And it's another team fight that Tempest Gaming just plays so well. They commit on an M9, even though the counter engage coming out from the Silas is actually pretty good. He's pretty tanky, pretty hard to take down. The positioning was from Tempest was just better. Mobility and Bellow had the inside track into the river, which meant they could collapse into the backside of the fight. And with the re-engage from Denethor, they find themselves 4 kills. They actually don't do the Herald. They just recalled to catch their waves. So no one gets what they came for, but I think Tempest Gaming is going to be okay about finding those kills.
What do you mean? AOE randoms gets what they came for. It was all a ploy to be able to get Shelly. I actually think priority on Shelly is a very important thing right now in this patch too. Is something that I was looking at, and I feel like this is really good for AOE randoms if they can turn around and use this to get the gold back into their favor. Unfortunately for them, they're dedicating 4 members to Shelly here, so they gotta make a very big play.
Yeah, and not only that, they're actually committing on the top side here to swap because they know that if they reset, they could actually just get dove on their way back to lane. They'd be so slow on the play, so they're trying to speed up the pace of this game by using that Herald to outpush Tempest and actually force a response. So really nice decision making there from randoms, not to just base after the Herald and get some gold here onto Psycho.
Yeah, they need to right now because the problem about Sivir is she is item dependent. I will tell you that. You don't feel good as Sivir until you get some items, but here we go. Gnar out. Denethor looking to go huge. Get angry, get mad, get even as they find the kill onto Coldthrow. A kick later pushes Psycho away, and Herald unsuccessfully dropped in the top side, still remaining in the pocket of Coldthrow.
And that's the danger of speeding up the pace of the game. Tempest Gaming, they make the read on what's happening. They send members, and Denethor finds a nice Gnar. Coldthrow has died 4 times this game. The Pantheon just not having the same effect I think that Coldthrow was really going for. And Frostforce playing the matchup super, super well. They are going to contest this
Here
blue.
we go. Man drop on top of Frostforce. He's not enjoying any of that. The kick comes in, and it's going to be 2 kills traded out as an overstay is the downfall of Tempest in the top side.
Well, there you go. Double kill for Nem9. I mean, AOE randoms, they get a pretty huge break right there. That is the power of the Pantheon. Coldthrow finally finding a nice man drop there to convert a couple of kills as Bellow and Frostforce, they had no way out, unfortunately. And now this does leave Denethor alone in this top lane. They're going to find their Herald play. So at the end of the day, randoms is going to get everything they wanted. It just took maybe a little bit longer than anticipated.
Yeah, they are going to be able to get this tower. Finally, this took about 2 minutes for them to get. I'm sure it was 2 minutes too long for them. You do see Karma's back up here to the top side, ready to help out Denethor. Almost has that Gnar ultimate back up and available, but Geiger is just trying to hold his own against mobility, and there's a lot of gold in the pocket of the Sivir right now, man. She hasn't backed in a very long time.
Yeah, sitting on only the Noon Quiver while her mid laner is a mythic, and that's a whole tower worth of plates and minion kills and first tower gold in his pocket as Psycho. Let's see what he gets right here. It's got to be at least a full mythic, right? Yeah, there it is. Gale Force and the Berserker Greaves.
Gale Force Gaming Sivir.
He has like 4,000 gold. Like
he hadn't backed since the very beginning of that Herald fight that went to the favor of Tempest Game. He's just been on the map for like 5 minutes.
Let's think about this. Berserker Greaves are 1,100 gold, and then the combined cost of Gale Force after Noon Quiver is like 2,100, isn't it?
Yep.
So that's a lot of money that Psycho
had to sell the door. Had to do a little bit of finesse.
He could pay off my student loans with how much he had right there.
Oh, that's quite significant, honestly.
Yeah.
And you only have to. Then you
only
have to
League
worry
of
about
Legends gold was taken.
Denethor is going to be able to get to top tower.
Maybe.
Okay,
All right, there we go.
Okay, yeah, okay. Hit me with the JK. You thought moment there. Kraken Slayer onto the Zeri in this game. Ooh. Very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's always either Kraken Slayer or Shield Bow most of the time. Clearly the read is I'm against an Ornn, I need to go Kraken. I think this makes a lot of sense. Mobility going to be a DPS threat. I mean, you know, we've been talking about how fed Psycho is, how much gold he had when he based, but Mobility also pretty strong. He's got a kill, a couple of assists. He also got a lot of plates on the bottom side, so even though he didn't get the tower to himself, he's actually still up a longsword due to that kill that he has.
Yep. Nice kill. Coming in clutch. Also was able to get quite a bit of plates over there in the bot side, but here we go. Here's the play. Nem9 looking to burst out some shields of their own. It's their favorite chapter. Mobility not enjoying any of that, but look at this. The exhaust being used, the shutdown going over.
The carries are gone.
And everything is so disorganized for Tempest Gaming. They are getting lost in the storm as they're coming forward. Cold throw brings the shield down. Pocket secures the kill, and it is AOE Random standing on top lane.
Yeah, Randoms pulled the trigger. Mobility thought he was baiting, but he got forced into the alcove where the Karma couldn't save him. Such a nice commit from Randoms to pick up 3, and one of those was a shutdown as well, being picked up off of Vuke. So, huge fight. Randoms not going to let this game be the same story as the first one.
Oh, not at all. This is a big turnaround for them, and you were talking about the same story. There is one thing that is the same, and I want to go ahead and bring your attention to the mid lane. I want you to look at Nem9. What do you see when you look at that KDA, right? We're seeing a theme here. Apparently, Blind Silas is the future!
Yeah, it is really shocking how much this has worked out. And again, it's kind of the same story too, where those 3 kills, at least he got a double kill with the blue buff, right? Again, off of just like kind of kills that were gifted to him by an overcommit from the enemy team. So funny how that one works out. Nem9, I mean, credit to him for getting this strong. And when Silas gets going, I mean, there is a reason that these teams have been blind picking it. It is exceptionally powerful right now. Even with the, I feel like Tempest Gaming's ults aren't the best. You've still got things like the Gnar ult and the Victor ult that can really do a lot of work. So, yeah, I mean, Nem9, he's a big boy right now.
It's a very difficult situation to deal with, and with these mid laners willing to trade this champion back and forth, and it is a champion when piloted in the hands of people who are just mechanically skilled. They will make you feel the difference so quickly and suddenly. Denethor getting away from all the trouble that was coming into the top lane, and one thing the AOE randoms have adjusted inside this game, they are rotating as a team every time you see them.
Yeah, they really are. I mean, they're so... They've been very clean around the map, and this is sort of what we saw in Game 1. They're very well playing on waves. They have been throughout most of the series. It's just that in the fights where they fell short. Speaking of, Nem9 falling short in this fight.
Yeah, Nem9 is looking. He wants to smoke, throws him up, but not against the wall. Force waits like a hungry cat looking to get ahead and get his meal. Psycho finds the kill onto Bello as well, looking to get a little bit more tags for themselves. Frostforce does have that Dragon Rage kick, but not going to find any fools to be able to kick around inside of this. It's a 1-for-1 in the top side of the map.
Yeah, Bello getting taken down there by randoms is a nice break for them to at least trade even, but a shutdown for Denethor. Getting pretty scary in the side lane here, Travis.
Yep.
He 3-1 and 2 has a Trinity Force. Just ignoring Denethor to work down this tower. Definitely is a problem as the game progresses because, I mean, who counters him? The Silas, we just saw Denethor absolutely clap him in the one-on-one, basically. I mean, I know Frostforce came in to help at the end, but there's not really an answer here, and then if you're committing the Pantheon ult to answer the Gnar, then you lose neutrals across the map because he's your jungler, so it does create a pretty massive pressure point here for Tempest.
Interesting. We actually see a rapid fire build second item on the Sivir. Very curious.
Yeah, that's not what I would have expected. I don't know. I feel like maybe something like a Phantom Dancer.
Yeah, that's what I was expecting
with
the PD.
Move speed and to stay alive in these fights. The rapid fire is interesting, but maybe if you're trying to reach deeper into the with your first ricochet.
If there's one thing about Sivir, her range sucks. So I get that, especially when you're looking at a Victor laser not to shoot your way, but you get the spell shield. You gotta have faith in your ability to click buttons good. But here we go, clicking the buttons good is going to be Geiger looking to see if he can tag mobility. He does successfully do just that, and now it is the Stampede coming through mobility, thankfully able to slide out of a dangerous scenario.
Yeah, Psycho not opting to pop the Ghost right there to try to run down mobility a little bit harder. That seemed like it could have been a decent angle for randoms, but they don't opt to commit into the Fog of War. due to the threat of any sort of collapse. They get the dragon, though, so at the end of the day, still advantageous play for them. And, you know, I think it's funny. We talk about Sivir having such low range. You know, she can huck that boomerang thing pretty dang far with it when it's her Q, but when it's her auto, for whatever reason, she's just like, I can't throw it far enough.
What an aggressive move. Gale forcing forward for this play. Last chapter used, and everybody is here to play. Psycho gets kicked, and revenge is struck. The gravity field is there, and Coltro stunned up. They're going to find kills left and right. Frostfor is finding execution on the Pantheon. Geiger left against the world, and now it's a cat that's put down, and it is a big team fight dub for Tempest Gaming.
Yeah, randoms, they hard commit in the mid lane when Nem9, their strongest member, is bot lane with no TP. I mean, I can see what you're going for, try to get a pick on Bello, but that is a huge overstep by the randoms, and Tempest Gaming, they get 4 and 2 mid towers. That's going to break this game wide open. Now, almost 5,000 gold in the lead after a great fight.
AOE randoms, you know, they like to stay true to the name and randomly flip things.
I mean, it's what we saw in game 1, where they
one moment.
It feels like they just get impatient at the map state. I mean, your team, yes, the scaling's not as in your favor this game as it was last, but you have this super strong Sivir. You just don't need to go for plays like that.
Can you imagine, like, playing football and when you go hike, the person that hikes it, like, hits you in the face with the ball instead of into your hands, right? That's what keeps feeling like they're happening. They're calling for the hike, but they keep getting smacked. Look at this guy here, can't do anything against Denethor. It's just a straight-up solo kill. Delay the inevitable as much as you wish, but it is still one thing that reigns supreme, and that is Denethor.
Yeah, I mean, Denethor having a great series. It feels like after that solo kill at the beginning of game 1 has not really looked back.
Gunther! Looking for plays, but it is going to be Bouquet who makes them pay. Psycho is able to get the kill onto Frostfor, so thankfully Coulter able to just barely stay alive, 200 HP to the name, but there's a raid boss in the bot side who remains unanswered. Nem9 looking for the kill on the Bouquet, trying to get a little bit of vengeance on the mine, but still, it is another brick that has fallen down as we continue to see this Nem9 caught out of position. Dragon Rage kick over the wall. That's beautiful to see. Bello is couldn't find himself getting dropped down. And now Psycho is in for a world of pain, able to barely sustain. Coulthrow continuing forward. Bouquet gets hit with the bouquet from Coulthrow, and it is death. As you know it, the spear shot going in. Pantheon looking to cut off all retreats, and are going to look to start up the Baron.
And you know what? I criticized the randoms for their positioning earlier, but that was a great overstay here on the top side to punish the split push from Denethor with no TP.
This is dangerous. This is so dangerous. Denethor is looking at it. He's looking at the feast that is in front of him. He's going mega. He's throwing him against the wall, but he still gets dropped. The HP bars were just too low, and it's AOE randoms that have just flipped these back into their favor. What is this game, Hawk?
Yeah, I mean, the randoms, they're still down in gold, but they make it happen. Again, they actually overstay on the top side because they know that Denethor's not here. And remember, he's one of the strongest members. And with Frostforce dead, you're effectively in a 5v3 because of Denethor's teleport, Geiger's teleport up on the top side. And they pick off the members of Tempest. They get a huge advantage, and then they force on the Baron. And even though Denethor, it looked like a good angle with the Gnar, there's just no damage follow-up. Mobility had no way in. Everybody stays alive. And randoms, they've bought themselves a new lease on life. Game number 2, very close, Travesty.
It is insanely close. Both these teams feel like they are dancing on the knife's edge, and either one of them can find themselves cut on it because they're playing dangerous. They're playing loose, and I love to see it. It's what I love so much about the UPL.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, these are two teams at the top of our table. Remember, this is the winner's bracket semifinals, playing for a chance to square off against AOE Ginger Turmeric next week. And it's just, they're playing with nothing held back. They're committing to plays, and even though, you know, again, not all of them have worked, right, they don't stop trying for them. Now, around this dragon, Tempest Gaming, they have the positioning. They're not going to stop trying to get this soul point. One of their towers dropped, I believe, on the bottom side of the map. as Geiger is looking for an engage. This Ornn is so tanky. I mean, Zeri's sitting on a Kraken Slayer, and Phantom Dancer doesn't really have the damage to get through, and then Mega Gnar is gone. Tempest Gaming, they have lost the fight.
Yeah, they have lost this fight. They have to just disengage it. Nem9 has the Gnar ultimate and will be glad to use it. You gotta be careful. You do not want to catch these hands, Nem9.
Oh.
Ooh.
He had no flash. He couldn't get in.
He was thinking about it. He was visualizing it. He saw the ult in front of him. He's going to be thinking about that one tonight.
Yeah, but I mean, now with the time,
the catch out! What a play! The Call of the Forge God comes in, calling on collect. 2 kills in quick succession. Deathlord comes into the play. He's looking to go mega, but not soon enough. And it's Nem9 who's going in deep, going in underneath the inhibitor tower. But he cannot be inhibited. He is looking to go further. It is a nice going over to AOE random.
AOE randoms, they're gonna just win the game. They were at a gold deficit for the entire time, but Kolthro, what a Chad, blast cones into the middle of everybody, 2 quick kills. The rest of Tempest Gaming gets run off the rift. We're gonna go to game 3 here in the UPL.
We are going into game 3, and I wouldn't have it any other way, man. We're getting right into it. It's looking fun, it's looking spicy, and both these teams are looking, like you said, to move on to that next round. Neither team wants to fall at this moment, and either team is willing to say no.
Yeah, and Tempest Gaming, I mean, it didn't look like they knew what to do when they didn't have a way to easily start plays. They get zoned off the dragon, the Gnar bar expires, but then they stuck around, which meant they were late getting back to mid lane, and that's when AOE randoms pulled the trigger on that rotation. Beautifully done by them, and credit to them for bouncing back after it felt like some of the same mistakes from game 1 were plaguing them. Well, they made some great plays to get themselves back in it and find a win.
I have so many questions. I have so many. Do we see Kolthro Man drop into the 3rd game on the Pantheon?
Yeah.
Do we get to see
Silas
another Dragon Rage kick? Silas first pick? What?
Silas is 100% win rate as a blind pick in this series, Travesty.
I'm going to go ahead and take myself a short break because I need a mental reset after that sentence that you've just said.
Yeah.
So make sure you do not touch that browser, as we will be right back with game number 3. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to UPL. We are going into game number three. And my name is Travis E, and I'm joined here. I'm so excited. I'm tripping over my own words. Hawk, dude, we got ourselves a fantastic series. I'm not going to say the curse word. Don't you dare say it either.
Okay, I won't say the B word, but what I will say is I agree. It has been a great series, Travis D. It has been very competitive. It has been very exciting. It has been almost, dare I say, oh no, I think you might come after me if I say it. Yeah.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Hawk.
I'll restrain. Yeah.
I personally, something that hasn't been restrained has been the I guess desirable, right, in this case, urge to blind Silas inside of how dare who did that? Who did that? You see that? Hot? Who did that?
Uh-oh. Someone get him out of here. Get it. What?
They're taking over.
Yeah. Oh no. Hyper's doing a little bit of trolling right now. It's moving around the screen. Oh god.
I'm being haunted.
I mean, it has been a banger. I mean, we only got here though. I know, I couldn't help myself, but we only got here, right? Because AOE randoms found a pretty substantial comeback last game. I mean, they had fallen behind the curve of the game up against Tempest, but Tempest, got caught out around the Baron thanks to some really crafty positioning from AOE randoms, and from that point on, randoms controlled the game. They fought really well. Now Tempest is on the blue side for the first time this series. Again, we have seen blind pick Silas's twice in a row. Last game, it was blue 1. We'll see if Tempest wants to go for that, as this champion has ended up being quite the X-Factor pick in the series. It started off as a Seraphine counter, and it has grown into something, a beast of its own.
I like the idea that people probably came into like this new patch and everything like that, and they were like, you know what? Screw playing the champion. We're just gonna counter it, and that's been a theme that a lot of people do inside of amateur. It's a viable strategy. So seeing the bans, I love this, by the way, to start things off. Get that cat out of here. Yes, Tempest Gaming, you are more of a dog person.
Yeah, I mean, I respect it. As a fellow dog person, I hate Yuumi. That champion is so boring to watch. And it was also a huge problem last game for Tempest, so I think it makes a lot of sense to get that one removed. If you want to go back to something like the Zeri, you kind of are forced to either pick the Yuumi yourself or ban it, because the Yuumi gets such a free lane against you. With the Sivir, it was definitely very oppressive. And also, with Pantheon, you can man drop into the middle of the fight with the Yuumi and be very, very hard to take down. So we'll see what ends up happening here. Randoms is running back their bans, their focus on Denethor, who has played extremely well in this series, despite the target on his back in Champion Select. So credit to Denethor. He's been someone that there's been a lot of criticism thrown to for having a small champion pool, and he's clearly made it work so far in the series. Bro,
put the spotlight on him. Those muscles have been glistening as he has been flexing, but you know someone else that's glistening? That's right, it is my eyes. They glisten with the fact that Silas is banned, so no blind pick Silas this game.
Yeah, I mean, this is so interesting to me that the Silas is getting banned now. Like, the series has evolved so much. In every best of series, right, there's always this sort of evolution of draft based on what's been happening before. And in this series, Silas becoming a pick-ban kind of champion. It does mean that the last ban will be of course, Kulthro's signature Udyr getting removed. So far, AOE randoms have been banning Poppy. I could expect to see that one hit the ban table. Now, one thing we do need to keep in mind is, again, in game number 1, Seraphine was blind picked by randoms, and Silas was sort of the compositional answer to it. Silas has been removed. Does the value of Seraphine then increase with this, this pick being banned out? Also, Poppy being available, something that has not been there for Frost Forest.
3 bans have been thrown at Denethor this game. 3. The Gwen now added to the list. What does Tempest Gaming decide they want to grab? Is it that Poppy in the jungle that they want to first pick, or is Seraphine, it that Seraphine? There it is.
Yeah, because the best compositional answer in Silas is gone. No one can steal the Encores anymore. And while there are, of course, answers to it, it's one less tool to beat it taken away. And again, it was nerfed, but it was not nerfed substantially, still very strong. So seeing that one come through. Again, I'm going to be interested. I don't think this will be a mobility Seraphine. I don't think that fits the identity. I think this is going to go to Bello or Vuke. Whoa! That's a counter. Could that be bottom lane too? It could be bottom lane.
No, I'm pretty sure that is a so Colthor plays quite a mean Gragas jungle. So
all right.
Yeah, I'm thinking this is
it's
traditional Nem 9.
And Nem 9 too.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's more expected.
Yeah, I like your optimism. I like it. Your heart's in the right place, but it does look like the answer back is the Gnar yet again for Denethor. Taking it blind, who can challenge him?
Yeah, and see, it's a good first rotation here from AOE randoms too. Although you are blind picking your mid jungle, a very volatile one at that, it's a little risky. Denethor is forced to pick a champion right here, basically, or risk having 2 more bans thrown his way, which is a bit of an issue for this player. So, just picking up the Gnar sort of essential right here for Denethor if he wants to get on the champion, and then it means that Tempest Gaming can either counter pick mid or jungle, but they can't do both right here without bans getting thrown out, so they opt to go for the Xin Zhao as the counter pick into the Gragas. But assuming the Seraphine's not going mid, which it shouldn't, it's terrible, into Yasuo, it should be a Bello Seraphine, in my opinion, then Vuke is going to have his champion pool targeted out.
So AOE randoms know one thing, and that's called going in. They all go in. And there is actually a very interesting dynamic. They still could possibly flex the Gragas. You did hint at it earlier where they could flex the Gragas into the support role if they so choose. And they could build an entire team composition around this Yasuo, which is a dangerous lawsuit, right? When you put all your eggs in the one basket.
It didn't really work in game 1 with the Yone.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that could be very dangerous, and it could be the fact that it's not a lesson learned. Keep our eyes as the draft continues forward as we are going through the second ban phase.
Yeah, and we do have an update from production. The the Gwen ban is a Callista ban. So Gwen was actually available, and just is Denethor opting for the Gnar, and then Callista was removed. So not going to be any sort of mobility Callista in this game. If they are targeting out his champion pool, it seems like AOE Randoms has the same read that I do. It's not going to be a mobility Seraphine. It will be a Bello Seraphine. Now, what I'm interested in is what the blind pick ends up being here for randoms, because this will sort of show where the Yasuo is going. You've got to pick one of your bot laners right here, assuming the Gragas and Yasuo isn't already one of them. Again, I kind of am with you. I think it makes a lot of sense. Things like Zeri still available. Twitch has potential, or you could maybe go for a mage bot.
Or Ashe. Ashe is still available too.
Ooh, Ashe could be a really interesting pick right here. It provides a lot of utility. Oh, well, okay.
They just banned it.
It would have provided a lot of utility here for the side of randoms, but
I'm glad you verified that my thought was a good idea, though. I appreciate
it was, yeah.
I appreciate it.
It's good. So, and it's a good ban from Tempest because we thought it would be a good champion. And the Sivir ban, super awkward because I feel like Mobility actually would have loved the Sivir here, but you can't leave it up because it's going to get blind picked by Psycho, and that does give Psycho the pick of the litter. They opt to go for the Rakan. So this is just a Yasuo comp, like through and through. The Twitch was hovered there, so that's kind of what I mentioned as a potential pick. But they're going to go for counter here in ADC and force Mobility and Bella to sort of show their hand, whether or not it's a Seraphine bot or if it's going mid for Bouquet.
Bro, what are the comms going to be like for AOE randoms in this game? There's like, M9, you're our highlight reel. Come on, man, you got this. Woo, baby. Like, everybody's going to have to be shouting words of encouragement. He gets a cannon minion. They're like, yeah, get it, M9. Woo. Everybody's just playing around him this game, man.
Just funnel him, yeah.
I mean, at this rate, go Terran. A Swain.
Interesting. Swain. Okay, I was expecting that to be a Karma mid, Seraphine support, and then an ADC, because Bouquet has actually played a lot of Karma mid here in UPL. That's not the case, though. It is a Seraphine, a mobility Seraphine, which is not what I was expecting, and we were talking about mage bots. Ziggs could definitely be an answer. I don't actually love Ziggs into this comp. I don't think you do it. You go for more all-in, all gas, no brakes is the option here for AoE randoms.
This comp looks so good if it gets ahead, but oh man. what a steaming pile this could be if they do not get ahead, man. Like, oh my god, they are really saying, yo, we're going in on this play. And like you were talking about, man, it's two interesting stories. On one hand, we've got the AOE randoms. We go in, it is dive or die. On the other side, Tempest Gaming, they've got what is the weirdest amount of sustain to deal with the dive, right? They got Swain that's hard to kill. You have two shielding enchanters. Gnar, who can throw you up against the wall if you mistime it. Xin Zhao's hard to do anything. This is such a weird comparison.
Yeah, I mean, it's the reverse of Game 1, where now Tempest Gaming, they've got this, like, real beefy, drain tanky, kind of low damage composition on their side, and AOE Randoms has this all-out skirmish dive comp. And so it's sort of the rules have switched. Last time around, the skirmish dive comp ended up winning, but what I will say is I think the Swain pick is really good from Tempest Gaming. In the lane against the Yasuo, it's a little awkward, it's not the best, but later on, Swain can definitely be a huge threat. There's not a whole lot of DPS to punch through him if the Yasuo can be kept off of him, and with the double enchanters, it's a huge problem. So if we can get in the middle of the team and get strong here as VUK, I think you've got a lot of carry potential. We'll have to see if that ends up happening, because again, you know, I said the lane's not the best against Nem9, and I have an inkling that Nem9's lane will be a pretty big target here for Colthrow.
I do like the fact that they do have two checks here that they can use inside of the game, which is they have both Wind Wall, and they also have Samira's ability to just cancel out projectiles coming at them. So they have two ways to actually deny projectiles coming in, which could actually be pretty useful into a composition like a Seraphine, which is going to be looking for that encore. So they do have quite a few of outplay mechanics, so keep our eyes. It will be a skill check to see how good your hands are. But ladies and gents, game number 3. I want to see who you got inside the Twitch chat. We got Tempest Gaming over here onto the blue side, and on the red side we got AOE Randoms.
I think it's fair to say that AOE Randoms definitely has the Make Seraphine Cry comp. It is going to be very hard for mobility to play this game. However, they, again, have a lot of volatility. Tempest Gaming, in Game 1, when they had this sort of similar comp up against the Seraphine Karma of AoE Randoms, got ahead after AoE Randoms overextended and gave away a triple kill to VUK. Tempest Gaming does not do that. I wonder if the story of the game is a lot different, because you also have something like the Swain to be a very, very reliable late-game beast. It's going to be a close one either way. These teams have been throwing haymakers at each other through the entire series. I'm concerned for AoE Randoms. They've had some mid-game struggles that I think they need to overcome if they're going to find this win. But they did it last game off of some really crafty positioning around the Baron. If they can do it again, I mean, they're into the semifinals. Tempest Gaming, you know, or whoever, if they lose here, aren't out. This is the winner semifinals. You just go down to the loser's bracket, but finding a win here puts you guaranteed at least top 3 here in UPL.
Yes. You want to... Nobody wants to go and make the run through the lower bracket, no matter who you are, where you are. It's just...
It's not ideal.
yeah. Going through the upper bracket is always a much better feeling. I'm saying that from experience, man. I've done that grind where you get up into the top of the bracket and then you get knocked down into lower bracket. And it's just like, bro, I gotta play so many games now. One loss is all it takes. Like, it's very stressful for either team, and so neither one of them want to find themselves in that unfavorable position.
Yeah, and if you go down to the loser's bracket, I'm gonna go ahead and check real quick. You play the winner of UCI against Raleigh Black Flames, so you know, that's not gonna be a freebie by any sense of the imagination. UCI, of course, a team that also has PG experience, and Raleigh Black Flame has played pretty well here in UPL. They took a 2-1 win over Conviction last week, so you know, you definitely don't want to drop down and find yourself in a matchup that is definitely very difficult. So yeah, finding a win here, very, very important for both these teams, and really being able to assert their dominance here in UPL.
Get over, fight the spiciest boys in the mall in AoE GT. See if they'll be able to do that. Either one of these teams looking to go into that next round of matchups. We'll be curious. Keeping our eyes yet again, for me, personally, on this jungle matchup. Coulter and Frostforce have had a lot of impact. Listen, it's not going to be a kill. We can say, ooh, but it is double enchanter.
Hey, but, you know, I always play engagers when I play the game. Travesty, and it's for that reason, so I can have those ooh moments where I'm like, like blood, killing, knockups, like that's fun.
Do you get excited whenever you're in the top lane because it's just they're just hitting each other like, yeah, look at all the blood being shed. There's a lot of it.
Honestly.
Woo!
I mean that's what it's all about right there. Watching top laners just beat the crap out of each other.
It's a wet noodle contest, Hawk. It's a wet noodle contest.
2v2 in mid. These are not wet noodles, but it seems like they're just going to stare at each other.
They're shark noodles.
Yeah. They're more like wacky waving, arm flailing, inflatable tube men, where they just kind of, they're like, hey, hello, and then they walk away.
I don't think they hit walls. Never seen one of those walk before. Just
they flop away.
And Knight has been used, by the way, onto Bella in the bot lane. Very interesting choice from AOE random spot. Denethor not having a good time against the cheese wheels of Geiger either, man. He is finding out Gnar is like
Geiger's just perma-freezing.
Yeah.
So rough. Like, Geiger's just pulling the wave in the face of Denethor. He does need to be careful. He's getting a little low.
He's dropping comments on his head. It's fine. He's got a health potion ticking away. It's all good, man.
He's got his jungler in his back pocket, so he knows he can't be dove. This could actually be an aggressive play. I mean, Coulthrow can just one-shot Denethor.
Yeah, he sure can. He's looking to go a hop, a skip away. Frostforce can't make the play in time. Geiger brings down the seismic shot, a double kill to Coulthrow.
Yeah, that's huge. Coulthrow gonna get pretty strong. This is definitely gonna be an AP Gragas as well. Really nicely done, covering the play for his top laner, and I mean, super well played right there. I don't know if you noticed, but oh, Bella.
Hello, in a rough situation, Knight is not available. Exhaust was used, so Psycho isn't going to be able to secure the kill as both teleports were used topside.
Yeah, but that's really bad because now your backing as a slow push is being stacked up against you, so they can just crash this huge wave and take a base for the bot lane of AOE random. So, well played to Psycho and oh god, look at that. Okay, you got the TP, so you can still pick it up. That's good. That would have been really bad if you had to walk all the way back to lane and miss a good chunk of that wave. But what I was saying before is, Coulthrow actually went for flash and then body slam, so it's faster. Because if you body slam and then flash, yeah, you can flash to adjust it, but it allows Denethor the reaction time to flash. But if you flash and then body slam, flash first, then body slam, right? Then the body slam comes out so fast when you're already in melee range, you don't even know what happens. So really nice mechanics right there from Coulthrow. Clearly understanding the champion very well.
Using opposition for his very own belly drum. Love to see it. As you can see, M9 trying to put that aggression a little bit more forward. Level 6 has been dinged for both mid laners, so look for plays to possibly happen. I am curious on what kind of swing we are going to see in this matchup. Oh, Denethor getting aggressive. There is a flashless Malphite. Unfortunately, yet again, point still stands, still lactose intolerant, still does not appreciate those cheese wheels.
Yeah, Geiger, you know, he's got his plate of steel caps. He's gonna get a Warden's mail at some point, and he's probably just never gonna die for the rest of the game. That is until Fouquet probably has something to say about it, but he's definitely chilling up there, you know. Denethor just trying to get some control over the lane, but Geiger, look at him. He's just a rock. He doesn't even do anything.
Rock solid choice up in the top lane. I do wonder if Fouquet is going to go the build that we've been seeing quite often as of late, which has been the Rallies into Imperial Mandate build. Seen a lot of success on it as of late, but Geiger now getting ganked. He does have the ultimate available. Isn't going to find the Xin Zhao going any further on the play. And M9, the last breath being drawn, and it is an ascension for Fouquet to make sure that he's able to survive.
Frostforce.
Coulthrow is going to get jumped onto here, but it's not in Frostforce's favor. Coulthrow is on a killing spree. Oh no, Denethor just went mini in the midst of them all. He flashes into the cove. He tried to pretend he was a Krug, but he's going to get reaped all the same.
This top jungle 2v2 has gone very awry, and you know, if at the beginning of this game, Travesty, you told me that the most volatile lane would be the Gnar Malphite lane, I would have looked at you funny, but here we are, 4 kills later, with the 3-1, 3-0-1 Gragas, and 0-2s across the board for the top and jungle of Tempest Gaming. Very well played. I mean, Colthrow just is stronger than Frost Force right now. There's not really any two ways about it, and lots of burst coming through from that Malphite Gragas combination to clean those kills up.
Yep. Ace damage of Malphite is already pretty tough, but it's just been something that we've been seeing. We've been seeing a little bit of a resurgence of Gragas as of late, where some people have been picking him up as other junglers kind of get shuffled around. He's always that champion that, especially in an experienced League of Legends player's handbook, is always a viable option.
Yeah, you know, Travis, earlier I heard you say the phrase belly drum, which makes me think of the move in Pokemon Belly Drum, where, you maximize your attack by losing half your HP or whatever, and I think Colthrow did the League of Legends version of Belly Drum, where he maximized his gold by finding 4 kills in the top lane.
You think he belly drummed in IRL?
Maybe. I mean, he definitely belly drummed in the game. He was throwing himself in there. Maybe that's how you play Gragas. Is you like smack yourself on the stomach and then you hit the E key, and
you say I'm all in.
Yeah. you gotta like slur your words though, like I'm all in.
Imagine it when you played your League of Legends character. You had to
chug a beer at the same time too.
You had to do your best impression of the champion. Whatever champion you're playing, you have to do an impression of.
Unironically, when I first started playing the game, I would quote all of my champions' voice lines to piss off my friends, and I was very successful at that. They would get really annoyed at me whenever I do it, but it's very fun. I'd play like Ashe, like one of the champions. When you lock her in, it's like all the world on one arrow. Or like Jarvan, you scream Demacia when you ult. It's a good time. You guys should try it.
Yeah, you just gotta how dead your voice would be playing Fiddlesticks. Fiddlesticks would be a good one, yeah. I'm thinking of like Kog'Maw and stuff like that. It'd be great.
That's my Kog'Maw impression.
Yeah, I would just do the victory horn all the time. Here we go.
Oh, okay. That's good. Yeah.
And jumped onto it.
Oh well. We had some action for a second. Now we can talk more about champion impressions, right?
Give me your best champion impression right now.
Oh, my just like my best one, period?
Yes, best one, period.
Oh gosh, that's like a lot of pressure.
Yep, right now, on the spot.
Here we, never mind, we can't do that anymore.
Okay, never mind, they don't want you to do it.
Oh, or I can, because Bello just flashes away. I thought I got saved by the bell, but I'm just going to do,
yes.
Oh man, okay. You've got LeBlanc. Time to make an appearance.
That's pretty good. I don't know if you're the real one or the decoy. Wow.
Well, see, I'm actually LeBlanc, because LeBlanc is everywhere and everyone.
Oh, that's true. Sure. Best impression I've ever heard.
Thank you.
Do a LeBlanc cosplay, honestly.
That would be pretty good. I don't know if I could pull it off. I think Sneaky could though. I would pawn that one off to Sneaky.
Okay. Well, we'll leave that to Sneaky. You can hit up Hawk on Twitter DMs if you'd like to set that up, Sneaky. Some plans going, but
yeah, please, Sneaky, please do hit me up. That would be great.
Well, right now, Coulter's busy hitting up Frost Force, the explosive cast, the last breath. What a funky interaction, but Frost Force gets saved by creating his own arena that he will not leave by any choice in the name.
So today I learned that you can use Xin Zhao Ultimate to buffer last breath off of you. That was pretty crazy, but now the bot lane is in danger. Bello, no summoners off of the prior 2v2. Pockets has no ulti though. They're getting crowd. However, you're losing prior in mid.
Yeah, they're losing the prior mid lane. There is a Rallies completed for Fouquet. Also summoning Herald in the mid lane. Teleport is coming in. This is going to be Denethor. He is Mega. It is going to be a kill traded. 2 kills easily as Geiger makes an excellent gank into the mid lane from the top side of the map. And now it is Tempest Gaming that have lost control. Psycho never do that again. Lost control of everything.
Yeah, I mean, Tempest, they think they can push in the mid with the dive on bot, but Geiger, he makes his roam down and kills Frost Forest for the 3rd time this game. And then meanwhile, on the bottom side, I mean, poor Bello, he was left to the wolves right there.
Nice, hard stuff, but it doesn't matter. A Flash Grand entrance later, Mobility is still finding himself in a world of pain, and that is the block that came in. Anti-Seraphine, Samira has no time for that music.
It's like I said at the beginning of the game. This is the make Seraphine cry comp, as Psycho just face tanks the Seraphine ultimate, no problem right there. And this game's getting pretty out of control for Tempest Gaming right now. They're down 3,000 as AOE Randoms is just firing on all cylinders. Nothing that Tempest has been able to do proactively has really worked for them, unfortunately.
Keep going. This is a very, very much so one-sided affair at this moment in time, at least in terms of kills. 14 minutes into the game almost, and you can see it's been a 3k lead in favor of them. But yet again, this explosive cast combo, what a beautiful flash from Bouquet. Yet again, stopping the efforts of this combo.
Yeah, but I mean, it's so little burned. Like, you walk in for like 10 seconds in mid lane and you get a flash with just a couple ults. Now, this is ahead of Dragon, so it is an investment in the short term right here that you do need to be careful of. But I have a feeling that Randoms just has enough priority on the bottom side where they don't need those ults anyway. I mean, Tempest Gaming doesn't really have any first items, whereas AOE Randoms has them across the board. But Tempest is contesting.
Looking to continue it. Everfrost on the Frost Force. He's caught out in a bad way. An unstoppable force meets the backline of Tempest Gaming, and Bouquet is the one who bears the consequences.
Yeah, they had the only ult that mattered, Travesty, which is that unstoppable force. Tempest is still looking to posture around this. Bouquet has TP when he respawns. It is unleashed, but I think that the dragon is just going to drop as Geiger pulls the trigger in the jungle. Real nice engage.
Good stuff to see, and this is going to be second dragon going over, and this is a little bit of the issue that Tempest has to try to solve this question, and it is, how do you resolve yourself against the burst, against the quick amount of damage that's coming through when you have a comp that doesn't burst anybody down? This composition's all just consistent damage. There is zero burst inside of the comp.
Yeah, there really isn't. It's just, it's so hard right now for Tempest Gaming to play the game, I feel like, because if you look, Bouquet is really the big carry. He's behind M9. Denethor is behind him, the one-on-one. And your biggest team fight carry and mobility is playing an Enchanter. And that's sort of why I question sending the Seraphine for him. I just feel like this composition doesn't really play to the identity that Tempest Gaming has established for themselves here in the UPL. I feel like having mobility not on a more playmaking, carry-focused champion is causing problems for them. And, I mean, yeah, he's somewhat strong. He has Leandry's completed. He can definitely still do work in this game. Again, it's the make Seraphine cry comp. It's really awkward right now for Tempest and AOE Randoms. They have run of the map. They've got 8 kills. They've got Herald now in their pocket. They're going to dive Denethor. And there's not really anything Tempest can do about it.
Yeah, this is one of those compositions that I would hate to play Seraphine into, man. Like,
it's just impossible.
It's actually just so ridiculously hard to actually make something proactive happen in this game, and you're seeing it. Seraphine's actually just splitting right now. Like, mobility's just like, yeah, this is cool, guys. I'm just down here. Needs to watch out because I think Geiger can just solo kill mobility.
Yeah, I feel like mobility has enough survivability where he can walk out, but he's definitely not winning that. I'll say that for sure.
There's an unstoppable force that doesn't care about any songs, I feel like.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what?
Rocks famously are not big music fans.
I will say, I bet you I do know what Malphite's favorite genre is.
Really? He hit me with it.
Hard rock.
This guy. That was pretty good. I like that one a lot. I'm always a fan of a good League of Legends pun. But do we smell what he's cooking? Is this a reference? Am I stupid?
That is indeed a reference. You know, yeah. I feel like I'm gonna get old if I explain it.
All right, you know what? We can leave me in the dark. I'm
gonna have to. I gotta do it for my own sanity. I could feel the wrinkles coming as I was starting to like talk about it.
Oh, I do know that. I understood that reference. Thank you very much, Hyper. Thank you, production.
Thank you.
Glad we could make it. Chat's probably flaming me right now for this. I like how this game has just been. oh, wait a minute, number 9. Oh, okay.
It's fine. It's easy. He's out.
You know, this game has just been, it's been an interesting game, because AOE Randoms has had quite a few proactive plays. They found themselves with quite a substantial lead, but at the end of the day, I feel like it's been a pretty slow burn, and we've had times to do champion impressions and talk about references that Hawk doesn't understand. But Nem9 now is getting clapped on. Tempest Gaming maybe can find their first kill.
Yeah, Nem9 looking to see if he can be the 1v9. Bello has to flash away. That last breath would have been utilized. Immortal Shield Bow pops, but next up is Nem9. Next is Mobility looking to get decimated, but great flash to dodge out. One quickening of Focus, as it's going to be a trade of bot tower for this, and they're looking to apply more pressure mid lane.
Yeah, and Nem9 did such a good job of buying time here. Mobility is getting jumped on. This is risky for randoms.
Yeah, Coulthro getting a little bit too anxious on the play. It's a big shutdown. Greg is taking off. Pull the devil trigger, but Psycho cannot take him on, as he is not able to get those kills and get those resets. AOE randoms fumbling a bit here. Geiger getting jumped onto Nets, has that ultimate ability available. Hawkus might be looking for the knockup onto Mobility, chain it together and create success. Mobility finds himself dropping as Frost Force is on the swift retreat path.
Yeah, Frost Force probably gonna get taken down, but AOE randoms,
they're still going. Jeez Wheels, let's go. Denethor's here, he's throwing him up against the wall. Hawkus gets dropped.
Randoms needs to stop diving towers. I feel like they do this every single game. They get ahead, and then they're like, hey, let's just give a few kills. Stop it. It's so infuriating to watch. I mean, and credit to Tempest for a great rotation to counter that. And randoms, they're going to be fine. They're still ahead. They're probably going to lose this dragon, though. But a huge shutdown off of Coulthro went to Mobility, and that is really what Tempest Gaming needed to get game. And okay, it seems like randoms, they're still going to contest for this dragon. So they do have priority over the river. However, Tempest Gaming has got the mid wave. No encore available for Mobility is critical. However, in the straight on 5v5s, I don't think he's going to ever find a good Seraphine ultimate anyway.
But that's what I was waiting for. That was the game changer last time. Nem9 wasn't in the fight. He's looking for blood. He's looking for vengeance. They find two kills. Denethor gets a beautiful Gnar ultimate into the fight. Psycho's going in big with the ultimate. Has to cleanse away the encore. A triple kill for Nem9. And Psycho picks up the remaining pieces. It's an ace to AOE random.
And just like that, randoms, they're back, and they're way ahead. They get the dragon, and they get the fight. Frost Forest tried to bait them, but there just wasn't any damage follow-up. Denethor went in, and no one could really do anything. Buke was on the backside of that fight, but he's hitting him out fight. That's 307 with 2 items. It's just impossible. That's gonna be where the game breaks open. Mid-tier 2 gets taken by Nem9 just for kicks as well. Baron slowly but surely will drop. And the randoms, despite some shenanigans in the mid lane, they are pretty dominant here in this Game 3 travesty.
100%. And you know what's really great about this, and I want to bring this up because it doesn't happen very often. Geiger has the highest kill participation in this game.
Hey, as a top laner, that's
pretty good.
Cool.
Pretty good.
That doesn't really happen, yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't happen very often. And that, honestly, I feel like we've been hyping up Denethor quite a bit. But we would be doing the Geiger fans this an injustice if we don't take this time to hype up Geiger, give him this little fan cam moment, because he's been really doing great at being the initiator, and that's why the game's been a little bit slow, I think. It's because of the fact that they need that Malphite to come in to be that consistent force for them, that immovable object inside these team fights, so that way they can let Coulthro and Nem9 kind of run things, and Psycho gets to do a little janitorial duty.
Yeah, they are doing some janitorial duty on now.
The Windwall is there. He's going to get the last breath. Denethor just went mini. He is completely vulnerable. And now it's Frost Force. And yet again, the kills are being split. Psycho pulls the trigger. It's ever so stylish into the backline. And yet again, the Yasuo, the Samira, they split the kills and they get an ace.
Yeah, Nem has the fadeaway tornado and he takes down the Gnar. And after that, that's just all she wrote for the fight. Vuke, he can sit in the middle of the team all he wants, but he just doesn't do a damn thing. This Swain is not strong enough. Tempest Gaming is not strong enough. AOE randoms are 11,000 gold in the lead, and they're going to try to break the base.
They are looking to do just that. They have 4 members down here into the bot side. Geiger in the mid lane. He's a solo threat. Oh god, Psycho, please stop. Have mercy.
Yeah, that's really loud. I'm not gonna lie.
All right, Windwall, last defense, but
dead.
mobility is going to drop immediately. Nem9 is dashing through every single wave, but losing a little bit of control of the body. Denethor is looking to go mega. It's gonna be a very huge fight as they are lacking the damage of Nem9. Psycho trying to see what he can do.
Kill anyone.
He can pop up in the fight, but everybody is way too healthy. Geiger has to flash away. He gets tagged. He's looking to get back. But Bello is there to cut off any escape, as it will just be Pockets who's able to make it out alive.
Wow, and Tempest Gaming, they hold the line. I saw this horrifying timeline in my head right there for a moment where Psycho barely lived and he was life-stealing, and I actually thought that Tempest Gaming wasn't gonna have the damage to kill anybody after that Gnar ultimate. Fortunately, they did, and they end up winning the fight, but that was way closer than we've maybe bargained for. Great engage by Denethor. The top laner is playing pretty exceptionally this game. I know Denethor had a pretty rough laning phase, but I feel like he's been playing these team fights pretty damn well. Geiger's just been playing him a little better, though.
Yeah, to be fair to Denethor, right? There is a difference. You have to build up your rage with Gnar, and Malphite, you hit.
Denethor, he's got to build the rage. He's got to do skill shots. He's got to do all that. Geiger just presses R on like as many people as possible.
Funny rock.
Yeah, you know, feels good. Malphite's fun champion.
Pretty solid. You could say rock solid.
Yeah. I was gonna try to not acknowledge the pun right there, but
unfortunately you're on a broadcast with me, and we acknowledge our puns around here, as we're also gonna acknowledge that Frost Force is about to get dropped. Psycho gets a kill. Denethor about to go mega, and the rock goes in, looking for him all. Denethor finally gets his ult off. There's a Swain in the back line. He is trying to see what he can do, but he's all utility and no damage. And yet again, the kills are split between Yasuo, Samira. They pop off, and that is yet another ace in AOE randoms. They got a date with AOE GT.
Yeah, you're gonna get your wish for the AOE Civil War travesty. The randoms, they were down in game 2. Back against the wall. They found the comeback in the game. They found the comeback in the series as the Nexus turrets are dropping. Tempest Gaming just didn't have enough in the tank, as the randoms are the real storm. They're gonna kill the Nexus and they're gonna move on.
Yes, indeed they are. Tempest Gaming find themselves falling in low bracket while AOE randoms head for Civil War. It is a date destined for any AOE team, and what an exciting turn of events that we got to see inside of this game. In game number 3, it's very interesting. We got to see multiple back and forth exchanges in game 1 and game 2. In game number 3, Silas ban, puzzle solved.
Maybe. I mean, the Silas ban, Silas did not win in this game for the first time in the series, right? But it just felt like Tempest Gaming, they went for a composition that didn't fit their idea. They went for, it felt like maybe a little bit more meta, and I think it showed. And credit to randoms, playing a great game. They had something prepared. Nem9 Yasuo, and they committed to it. Mobility could not play the game. Tempest Gaming could not play the game, because after the kills that went down on top side, AOE randoms, they never looked back. I mean, the only kills that they really gave over were on overextensions.
I think it's actually so good to see, too, because not only was it the Yasuo that was getting kills, right? The last, I believe, 4 team fights, it were 5 kills, of course. It was like 4 aces back-to-back. It was 3 kills went to either Yasuo or the Samira, and the other 2 went to the one that didn't get the 3 kills. It was actually beautiful, the fact that they ran a double threat composition like this that was actually successful when all the eggs really felt like they were in the basket of this Yasuo. But it's that burst, and it's the burst versus the sustain that we got to see in this game. It was very good. It was very proactive, and I think there's a tale to be told here about not letting the meta define you, but having you define the meta.
Yeah, and I gotta be honest, I'm not impressed by the Seraphine bot lane right now from either team.
0% win rate.
0% win rate. It just didn't really look good, if I'm being honest. So definitely something to keep in mind, meta or not, just as we move forward here in UPL. And AOE randoms. I mean, again, the most you're talking about how like that composition was about Nem9, but he wasn't the only star. Remember, the most volatile lane that game was the Malphite in our lane. We saw 4 kills there before like 5 minutes because they kept fighting up there on the top side, and Randoms came out so far ahead off that. And Colthrow, to his credit, really spread the gold around, because after getting 4 kills up there, dives bot lane, gets Samira ahead, and from that point, the game was basically over. So that's quality jungling from the jungler there on Randoms, and definitely deserving of their win here today.
Absolutely. And I'm excited for the fact that I got to come back and for like a guest appearance here. I got to
yeah, shout out Travesty for subbing in last minute, by the way. Everyone, a round of applause. Hyper was about to have like a heart attack, so we're glad we figured
I feel like I still gave him a heart attack, because every time I'm on a UPL stream, the games always go to a full series. So I do curse him in that regard as a production. Every single time he's just like, wait a second, Travis on, it's a full night of games. It's, as he was putting out there, the cursed B word was all around the screen, and it was well deserved. It was a very good series. But that's it for us here tonight, Hawk. You got anything you want to say to everybody before we end things off here?
Man, no, I don't. I guess watch LCS this weekend. I'll be playing.
Yes.
Hidden LCS Hawk. No, I'm kidding. But it was a lot of fun. I mean, seriously, great series coming through from these teams. AOE Randoms looking pretty good. I mean, if they can figure out some of those mid-game things, this is a really, really scary team, because their coordination as the series progressed was impressive. Their mental fortitude to stay in it was brilliant. And for Tempest, I mean, you're not out. You're just down to the lower bracket. So I expect we'll see them back pretty soon.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm excited to see it. And you know what, my shout out is going to be, you see that @ over there for Hawkcast. My shout out is, you should DM him suggestions on LeBlanc cosplays that you think he can pull off. Make sure you do that. Tag Sneaky in a couple tweets mentioning Hawk. Maybe they can do a duo thing. One of them can be the clone. You know, it'd be great.
We could do a collab. Oh, that would be fun.
I'm telling you, I got you. But that is good.
I don't think the world is ready for me in a corset. That would be something.
You might be surprised.
Or no, LeBlanc doesn't wear a corset. What does she wear? Like a bodysuit? I don't know. Either way, that's not relevant.
It's not. We are done here for tonight. So I want to go ahead and thank everybody for tuning in. Shout out to AOE Randoms for coming out and putting on a clinic, making sure that they go up to the AOE Civil War that has been prophesized for generations. And thank you to everybody. You all appreciate you. Make sure you tune in same time next week, where you'll be able to find some more fantastic UPL action, where you get to see the latest, the greatest of amateur League of Legends. You all have yourselves a fantastic night.